I have a system vault. He was dumped because of poverty, and accidentally bound to the system, which gave him an endless treasury. From then on, his task was to spend money, spend money, spend money, and the more he spent, the richer he became. Chapter 1: The Prodigal Rebate System. Suheng, let's break up. You're just a poor guy, you can't give me a future. The things I want, only the big boss Liu Jun can give me. Under the night sky, Suheng wandered aimlessly through the streets, his ex-girlfriend Chu Yinuo's cold words still echoing in his mind. No, ex-girlfriend. After 3 years of being together, Suheng did everything he could for Chu Yinuo. Even when she asked for an LV bag, he borrowed money online to buy it for her. But she had already found someone else and cruelly dumped him. Ding ling ling. Just then, his phone rang. Suheng picked up the phone, and a hurried voice came from the other end. Suheng, I found out what you asked me to investigate. Liu Jun is not some big boss. He's just a taxi driver. He just happens to share the same name as the big boss. His car, his clothes, and his watch, they are all rented. The voice of his best friend Wang Tingfei came from the phone, striking Suheng like a lightning bolt. Are you serious? Suheng asked in disbelief. Of course, check your WeChat. I've sent you all the evidence. Suheng quickly hung up and opened WeChat. Sure enough, his friend had sent a bunch of screenshots, including Liu Jun's true identity and records of him renting a car. The evidence was undeniable. The so-called big boss Liu Jun was actually pretending to be someone he wasn't. His true identity was that of a greasy middle-aged taxi driver. How ironic, how ridiculous. He had been beaten by such a man. Suheng's body trembled with anger. He didn't know whether to be angry at Chu Yinuo for her stupidity or at Liu Jun for his cunning. If he had truly lost to a big boss, he could have accepted it, but losing to a fraud was unbearable. It could only be said that true feelings can't be kept, while schemes win people's hearts. Thinking about how his once admired goddess had been fooled by such a middle-aged greasy man with rented luxury cars made Suheng almost spit blood. He sneered. Women. Ding. Suitable target detected. The prodigal rebate system binding successful. The prodigal rebate system. Suheng, lost in thought, was startled by the voice in his mind. At the same time, a screen appeared in front of him. Prodigal rebate system. Host, Suheng. System credit, unlimited. Personal wealth, 18,369. What does this mean? Suheng froze, feeling bewildered. He even wondered if the shock of the breakup had caused him to hallucinate. But the next moment, a black card appeared in his hand. At the same time, a mechanical voice sounded in his head. The prodigal rebate system is a system for the simp user. The host can use system funds to spend money on a goddess and receive corresponding rebates. When the goddess's affection reaches 90 points, the host will receive a mysterious reward. What? Spend money on the goddess. So the money in this system is for spending on the goddess. If I spend it, I get rebates, and when her affection reaches 90, I get a mysterious reward. Can I use this money to buy a house first? Suheng instinctively thought about spending it on himself. System prompt. System funds are not their host's personal property. They can only be used to spend on women. Personal expenses are not covered by the system. Well, looks like that won't work. This system was truly crafty. The money could only be used on women and not on personal expenses. Suheng felt a bit frustrated. He had thought that after the breakup, he would immediately become rich and successful. Who knew, he was still a broke guy. A broke guy who could only spend money on women. So, who spends money on women? To put it bluntly, it's their simp. According to the system's prompts, Suheng linked the black card to himself and began to think about who to spend money on. He couldn't just walk out onto the street and randomly pick a woman to spend money on. That would make him seem crazy. After all, in order to pursue Chu Yinuo, that gold-digging woman, he had spent all his salary paying her rent and utilities. Just earlier, to please her, he even took out a loan to buy her an LV bag, and now he was in debt, desperately needing money to replenish his savings. After thinking carefully, Suheng quickly thought of someone. Song Lily. Chu Yinuo's best friend. Unlike Chu Yinuo's subtle gold digging, Song Lily's is very open. She often hangs out in nightclubs and similar places and is very open-minded. If he spent money on her, she definitely wouldn't refuse. Soon, Soo-hyun called Sung Lily. Hey, Sung Lily. Hurry up and say it. I don't have time to chat. Sung Lily's voice was full of impatience. It's nothing, just saw your post on WeChat about wanting a new Hermes bag, so I'm thinking of buying it for you. Soo-hyun said generously. Really? You're not joking? Sung Lily asked excitedly. Of course, I'm not joking. I'll be waiting for you at the Hermes store now. Soo-hyun hung up the phone. Soon, Sung Lily appeared hurriedly at the Hermes store entrance, standing gracefully in front of Soo-hyun, and said suspiciously, Soo-hyun, are you sure you want to buy me the latest Hermes bag? It costs almost 100,000 yuan. Soo-hyun knew her situation well. She was poor, but she was nowhere near rich enough to buy a Hermes bag. Ding! Target for spending money binding. Target name, Sung Lily. Target attractiveness, 7.5. Target affection for host, 18. Ding! Target binding complete. Let us go. After hearing the system prompt, Soo-hyun confidently led Sung Lily into the Hermes store. He felt a strange confidence when he had money in his account, as if he could look down on everything. Who would have thought that, upon entering the Hermes store, Soo-hyun would run into a familiar face? Honey, look, this bag matches my outfit perfectly. Yinuo was standing in front of the mirror, holding the latest Hermes bag, looking delighted. Xiaoyu, I was poor when I was young. I built my wealth from scratch over decades. I don't want the woman who will spend her life with me to be materialistic. Do you understand what I mean? Liu Jun said seriously to Yinuo. Yinuo reluctantly put the bag down and said obediently, I understand. I'm definitely not that kind of materialistic woman. Good. Liu Jun nodded in satisfaction, but inwardly sneered. Not materialistic. Of course you are. If it wasn't for my luxury car, would you even like me? He had figured it out. In this world, true love was fake, only money was real. Once he understood this, he bought a bunch of high-quality knockoffs from a second-hand store and rented a luxury car to create the persona of a wealthy boss. Sure enough, as soon as this persona was set up, the beautiful women lined up to flock to him. Not only did they willingly spend money on him, but some even paid to be with him. Chapter 2, Just a Liar. Yinuo was just an ordinary woman among all these other women. We won't shop anymore, let's go home, she said, being extremely considerate, and walked towards the door with Liu Jun. Just then, they bumped into Soo-hyun, who was coming to accompany Sung Lily to buy a bag. Their eyes met. Yinuo froze for a moment. Soo-hyun, why are you stalking me? I've already told you that I don't like you anymore, so why are you still shamelessly following me? Your behavior is really disgusting, do you know that? Yinuo's tone was filled with disdain, and she looked at Soo-hyun as if he were a toad. Ding, binding the target for spending money. Target name, Yinuo. Target attractiveness, 7.4 points. Target's favorability towards host, 52. Ding, target binding completed. The system's prompt sounded. When Soo-hyun saw that Yinuo's favorability towards him was 52, his heart shattered. He had pursued Yinuo for 4 years in university, and after graduation, they dated for another 3 years. During that time, he had spoiled her in every possible way. He was so protective of her, treating her like a treasure, afraid to spoil her or hurt her, buying anything she wanted. And now, after 7 years of affection, the result was a favorability score of 52, which was practically at the level of hatred. Even a stranger wouldn't feel this much hatred, and Yinuo, you're being too much. At that moment, Soo-hyun's heart turned cold, and the feelings he had left for Yinuo instantly vanished. Furious, he said, Yinuo, stop being so full of yourself. I'm here to accompany Sung Lily to buy a bag, and it has nothing to do with you. Buy a bag? Yinuo rolled her eyes so much that it almost seemed like they were going to the back of her head. Stop pretending, I know you too well. The cheapest bags here aren't even ones you could afford. Before Yinuo could finish speaking, Sung Lily, who had already chosen a bag, walked up to them and confidently said to Soo-hyun, Soo-hyun, I've chosen my bag, go pay for it. Soo-hyun didn't say anything and immediately pulled out his black card to head to the cashier. Sir, this is our store's latest hot item, priced at 98,000. No problem, just swipe, Soo-hyun replied, quickly paying with his system's black card. Seeing this, Shin Yu's face instantly twisted. Because that bag was exactly the one she had just eyed, and she really liked it. Liu Jun, this big boss, was too stingy to buy it, yet Su Heng, a poor guy, bought it without batting an eye. What's going on? How did this guy get so rich? Could it be that she's hallucinating? Ding, Song Lily's favorability towards their host plus 20, current favorability is 2. Ding, Song Lily's favorability towards their host plus 20, current favorability is 22. Ding, spent 98,000, rebated 98 yuan. Ding, Shin Yu's favorability towards their host plus 60, current favorability is 8. The system prompt sounded again and again. Song Lily's favorability towards Su Heng went from 18 to 22, reaching a level where she had some affection for him. Even Shin Yu, this green tea character, saw her favorability score go from 52 to 8. Although it wasn't exactly favorable, at least she no longer disliked him. Su Heng was in disbelief, so this really is their cure-all for all problems, just buying a bag and the favorability increased so quickly. However, spending 98,000 and only getting a rebate of 98 yuan wasn't satisfying. The 0.1% rebate felt too little. Let's keep shopping. Today, anything you want, I'll buy for you, Su Heng said, his tone calm, and he looked almost handsome as he said it. Even with his messy hair and wearing shorts and a t-shirt, he had a certain free-spirited aura. You're so good, hubby tilde. Song Lily immediately kissed Su Heng. Song Lily, still very aware of the situation, understood the relationship between Su Heng and Shin Yu. And it was obvious now that Su Heng and Shin Yu weren't on good terms, so she would definitely help Su Heng boost his face. After all, it's hard to refuse a gift when you've received one. She had never had someone buy her a bag worth almost 100,000 before. Seeing this, Shin Yu's face turned even darker. Xiao Yu, wait, I have some business to take care of. Let's not shop anymore, Liu Jun said, sensing the awkwardness, trying to pull Shin Yu out of the boutique. HMPH, if you don't have money, don't pretend to be a rich man to pick up girls, Su Heng immediately took the opportunity to mock. Shin Yu almost exploded with rage. In her mind, Su Heng was always her puppy, he was always there whenever she called, doing whatever she asked. It was natural for the puppy to lick her, but if the puppy licked someone else instead, Shin Yu immediately felt unbalanced. Hubby, look. Shin Yu pulled on Liu Jun. Xiao Yu, I don't like shallow women, Liu Jun said seriously. But Shin Yu was still a bit reluctant. Xiao Yu, it's just a bag. If you want it, I can buy it for you anytime, but I won't waste money on such shallow things. Liu Jun spoke confidently, hands behind his back. To be honest, I have money, and I have so much that I don't know where to spend it, but when have you ever seen me splurge? Because I started from nothing, I know how hard it is to make money, so I save and don't waste it like some spoiled rich kids who show off and squander it the moment they have a little money. I understand, Shin Yu nodded. Hubby, don't worry, I'm definitely not that shallow woman. I won't splurge on a bag like those nouveau riche people. I also wouldn't sell my dignity for a bag, like some women. Millimeter. Liu Jun nodded in satisfaction. You? Hearing this, Song Lily was immediately displeased. What do you mean by selling dignity for a bag? Isn't that just insulting someone else? TCH, a taxi driver with an income of 5,000 pretending to be something else, it's simply laughable. Su Heng reached out to stop Song Lily and smiled slightly. Hearing this, Liu Jun's calm and confident expression immediately changed. What did you say? Shin Yu asked, confused. I said Liu Jun is just a taxi driver with an income of 5,000. His car and clothes are all rented, Su Heng sneered. He lives in a village near Jifang Avenue in the south of the city. As for being a billionaire and owning several listed companies, that's all just a lie. What? Shin Yu's face changed, and she looked at Liu Jun in disbelief. Is what he said true? At first, Liu Jun seemed a bit panicked, but soon, he calmed down. Yes, everything he said is true. I'm just a taxi driver. The billionaire and all those companies are lies to deceive you. As for the car and the outfit, they are rented. Boom. Shin Yu felt as if she had been struck by lightning, her face turning pale. Asshole. She suddenly lost control, grabbing at Liu Jun. Liu Jun unceremoniously pushed Shin Yu away. Stop pretending to be a saint. If it weren't for my money, would you even look at me? You're the one who's stupid and got deceived, so who can you blame? With that, Liu Jun turned and left. If it's been exposed, so be it. He didn't care after all, he hadn't lost anything. He had made a lot of money by renting the clothes and car. The only regret was that he was exposed too soon. Otherwise, he could have slept with her a few more times without spending any money and even let her pay him. Chapter 3, Rapidly Growing Affection. After Liu Jun left, Yinuo also felt embarrassed to stay, so she quickly ran off as well. Har 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 har. Song Lily laughed out loud without restraint. Before, Yinuo had mocked her for being materialistic, but who would have thought this twist would be so irresistible? As a result, Song Lily found Su Cheng even more likable. Beep, Song Lily's affection plus 10. Beep, Song Lily's affection plus 10. What's going on? Why is her affection increasing so fast? As soon as Su Cheng stepped out of the Hermes store, he noticed that Song Lily's affection had reached 40, a flirtatious level. But he had only spent 100,000 yuan so far. This money power was too strong. With this in mind, Su Cheng decided to strike while the iron was hot and turn her into a fan. Thinking of this, he took Song Lily to a Givenchy boutique, casually pointing inside and saying, "Pick anything you like." Beep, Song Lily's affection plus 5. Beep, Song Lily's affection plus 5. As soon as Su Cheng finished speaking, Song Lily's affection increased by 10 points again. It was no surprise this line had too much power over women. Without hesitation, Song Lily went inside to choose clothes. Su Cheng, do you think this looks good? Looks good. Buy it. What about this one? Also looks good. Buy it. And this one? All of them. Buy them all. With the system in hand, the world is mine. No matter what clothes Song Lily tried on, Su Cheng confidently said, buy, buy, buy. Every time he said it, her affection skyrocketed by several points. It seemed that the saying online was true, the most effective compliment for a woman is simply buy, buy. Any woman would be unable to resist the charm of these words. In just a few minutes, Song Lily's affection had risen to 60, reaching the level of admiration. She was now very close to being transformed into a fan. Waiter, check out. Sure, your total for these clothes is 20,600. Su Cheng immediately frowned. After all this, he had only spent over 20,000 yuan, and the rebate was no more than 20 yuan. What could 20 yuan do? It could barely get him a meal with an extra chicken leg. Beyond that, it was useless. Song Lily, buy a little more. Don't try to save money for me. Beep, Song Lily's affection plus 2. Current affection, 62. But I've already bought several pieces, Song Lily smiled and said. Anyway, this store is here. We can always come back later. Later. Su Cheng felt frustrated. He wished Song Lily would just spend tens of millions today, so he could get a bigger rebate and pay off his debts. But it looked like continuing to buy clothes wasn't going to work. Even if she bought more, it wouldn't have the same effect. Do you offer membership cards here? Su Cheng asked. Yes, sir, the salesperson immediately nodded. Good, set one up for me. Charge 1 million. Su Cheng said in a low voice. Shopping for clothes was too troublesome for women picking and trying on, only to end up with just a few pieces and a tiny rebate. It was easier to get a membership card, so she could come shopping by herself later, and it saved him time. Isn't this too much? Song Lily was stunned, feeling a little overwhelmed for the first time. Trust me. Su Cheng spoke in a domineering tone. Hearing Su Cheng's commanding tone, Song Lily felt a sudden rush of excitement. Having been in nightclubs for so long, she had seen many rich second-generation heirs, but none had ever spent money on her like Su Cheng. In that moment, Su Cheng's image overlapped perfectly with the image of the Prince Charming she had always fantasized about. Beep, Song Lily's affection plus 5. Current affection, 67. Beep, Song Lily's affection plus 5. Current affection, 72. Hearing the system's prompts, Su Cheng furrowed his brow. Only 10 points of affection. He thought it would at least be 20 points. It seemed that as affection increased, raising it became much harder. This was fine, though. He could take advantage of this to spend even more money on Song Lily and get more rebates. Once out of the store, Su Cheng saw that there was still time and turned to Song Lily. How about I buy you a car? Do you prefer Ferrari or Rolls-Royce? Beep, Sung Lily's affection 5. Su Cheng thought that buying Sung Lily a car would increase her affection even more and bring in more rebates. But when the words left his mouth, her affection decreased instead. Oh, I think we can skip that. Su Cheng, I know you're upset today, but spending money like this isn't right. How about we buy next time? Sung Lily cautiously suggested. Ferraris and Rolls-Royces, those were luxury cars worth millions. Today, Su Cheng had already spent $1 million on her, and she was thrilled, but spending millions more felt a little unreal. The key was, they didn't even have a deep relationship yet. Alright, we'll talk about it next time. Su Cheng nodded. It seemed that when it came to spending money on women, there was a balance. Too much could backfire. But if he couldn't buy a car or continue spending, what else could he do next? Su Cheng was confused. He was lost, but Sung Lily wasn't. She was a smart woman, and she understood the principle of give and take. If a man spent money on her, she had to spend a little on him as well. Even if it wasn't much, it would make him feel much better. Because it was a matter of attitude, showing that she didn't treat him like an ATM. Next, Sung Lily bought several pieces of clothing for Su Cheng and even took him to a salon for a new hairstyle. No one could deny that with this makeover, Su Cheng became much more handsome. He went from looking like a construction worker to someone with a unique charm. As the saying goes, there are no ugly women, only lazy ones. With the right styling and some editing, even an average-looking woman could turn into a goddess. Men were the same. With the right clothes and hairstyle, their looks would improve too. Su Cheng wasn't bad looking to begin with, and after this makeover, he looked as good as some minor celebrities. When he came out of the salon, Sung Lily's eyes nearly popped out. How had she never noticed that Su Cheng was this handsome? And the key was, he was so willing to spend money on her. He was simply the perfect man in her eyes. Beep, Sung Lily's affection plus 5. Current affection, 72. Beep, Sung Lily's affection plus 5. Current affection, 77. Unconsciously, Sung Lily's affection had risen to 77 points, and she was just 13 points away from being fully converted into a fan. From just now until now, Su Cheng hadn't spent a single penny. It seemed that sometimes, a handsome face had more impact on a woman than money. Let us go eat. Su Cheng looked at the time. It was already quite late. Having dinner with Sung Lily would be a great opportunity to use up some fan money and still get some rebates. If he ate alone, he would only be spending his own money without any rebates, so of course, Su Cheng knew what to choose. Chapter 4: Binding New Targets. Okay. Sung Lily agreed without any doubt, and the two of them quickly found a high-end restaurant for dinner. During the meal, Sung Lily and Su Heng talked and laughed, and the two of them had almost endless topics to talk about. It was at this time that Su Heng realized that chatting with Sung Lily was so interesting and happy. Sometimes, Sung Lily would take the initiative to find topics to chat with him, and even talk about food from their childhood, appearing very friendly. It was nothing like before when he chatted with Yinuo. She was always indifferent, so he had to work hard to find topics to talk about, and in the end the conversation ended in a dull and awkward manner. After dinner, it was getting late, almost 9 o'clock. The main reason was that we spent too much time walking around in the afternoon, so it was so late. Walking on the road, Sung Lily blushed and whispered, "Well, Su Heng, why don't you go to my place and drink my water? Drink my water and sleep with me." Sung Lily is not a chaste heroine. Su Heng has spent more than 1 million yuan on her. It is normal for her to sleep with him. By the way, she can also rely on this thick thigh. It is quite a good deal when you think about it. Anyway, it's not like she hasn't slept with other people before. Sleeping with Su Heng is the same as sleeping with others. Su Heng has spent so much money on her, so there's nothing wrong with sleeping with him. After hearing this, Su Heng turned around and found that under the light, the exquisitely dressed Sung Lily was like a blooming rose, with an alluring fragrance. I have to say that Sung Lily has a very good foundation, she looks very good, and has a very hot body. It is hard for any man to refuse her. But Sung Lily, I'm so disappointed in you. Su Heng snorted coldly and turned away. I just wanted to earn rebates from the money I paid to the prostitutes, but you actually wanted to sleep with me. There is no such cheap good thing in this world. You are dreaming. If I sleep with you, how can I spend money on other women in the future? Song Lily stayed where she was, her eyes wide open in disbelief. How could a man refuse to sleep with her? You spent more than $1 million on me, but you didn't sleep with me. What do you want? Could it be that he really likes me and doesn't just want to sleep with me? Song Lily was suddenly confused. She subconsciously felt that this was unlikely because it was unlikely that Soo-hang liked her. Ding, Song Lily's favorability +5, current favorability 82. But apart from this reason, what other reasons could there be for Soo-hang to spend so much money on her? Ding, Song Lily's favorability +5, current favorability 87. Soo-hang was confused. What's going on? I rejected you, but your favorability towards me increased. Are you a hermaphrodite? Women are like this. If a loser likes her, she will feel disgusted and think it is sexual harassment. But if a handsome guy or rich second-generation guy secretly likes her, they will think this is very romantic and in line with their imagination of love. But Soo-hang couldn't understand why even though he rejected Song Lily, his favorability towards her would still increase. Since he couldn't figure it out, Soo-hang simply stopped thinking about it. He had experienced too many things that day and he was tired. After returning to the rental house, the first thing he did was take a shower and go to bed. That night, Soo-hang slept particularly soundly. Because he slept so soundly, he accidentally went to bed late. Ding-ling-ling. The cell phone rang, and Soo-hang woke up from his sleep. He picked it up and saw that it was a call from his immediate boss, so he quickly answered it. Soo-hang, do you still want to do this? Calculate carefully how many times you have been late this month. Let me tell you, the president got mad when he saw that there was no one at your workstation. I give you 10 minutes to get to the company, or you can quit your job. A series of roars came from the phone, which made Soo-hang dizzy. Soo-hang was still a little groggy because he had just woken up. Without time to think too much, he quickly got dressed and took the bus to the company. Even if he tried to speed up on the way, half an hour had passed by the time Soo-hang arrived at the company. Soo-hang, look at what time it is. When the boss saw Soo-hang in dishevel, his face was so gloomy that water seemed to drip from his face. Sorry boss, I stayed up late. Soo-hang said helplessly. What's the point of you explaining to me? The president has seen it all. Go to the president's office and explain to the president. Boss, don't be like this. I know I was wrong, and I will correct it next time. Soo-hang was caught late and could only smile. I'm not kidding you. I'm really not targeting you this time. The president got angry when she saw that there was no one in your position. She told you to come to her office when you came. Go quickly and be nice, otherwise, I can't protect you. Soo-hang's face suddenly turned bitter. After all, he had worked for his boss for a year and had a good relationship with him. He could be flexible when he was late, but the CEO was a well-known female rakshasa in the whole company. If he was caught by her, it would be terrible. Soon, Soo-hang was taken to the president's office by the president's secretary. Boss Chu, here comes the late employee. Well, let him in. After the conversation, Soo-hang entered the president's office and met the female president. She was wearing a black suit, with delicate features, fair skin, a cool temperament, and a hint of sexiness. She is the unattainable goddess for most employees in the company, and also the boss of Soo-hang's boss, the IC president Chu Yinuo. Seeing Chu Yinuo, Soo-hang became very nervous and had to lower his head and look at the tip of his shoes. There was no way. The president's temper was well known in the company, and as a small employee, he really didn't dare to look the big boss in the eye. You are Soo-hang. Chu Yinuo's icy voice reached Soo-hang's ears. Ding, the spending target is being bound. Target name, Chu Yinuo. Target appearance, 8.9 points. Target's favorability towards host, 4. Ding, the spending target has been bound. The system prompt sounded, immediately waking Soo-hang up. What is he afraid of? There is a system in place, so what is there to be afraid of? He just happens to have bound himself to the person he spends money on, so he can spend some money to get a rebate. Thinking of this, Soo-hang suddenly became confident, raised his head, and looked directly at Chu Yinuo. Yes, Mr. Chu, I am Soo-hang. Feeling Soo-hang's gaze, Chu Yinuo's eyes turned cold. You're pretty tough. Tell me why you're late. I heard that the company was in financial trouble, so I went to help it attract investment. Soo-hang stopped standing and sat on the sofa casually. Before, he treated Chu Yinuo as the president and himself as an employee, and felt very panicked, but now he is not panicked anymore, because he has also regarded Chu Yinuo as a spending target, a rebate tool. When faced with a rebate tool, there is no need to panic. Seeing Su Heng's behavior, Chu Yinuo's face became colder and colder, and he said in a cold voice, "Attract investment. What kind of investment can you, a small employee, get? If you can really attract investment, you won't be an ordinary employee in the company." "Boss Chu, the company account number is 7825. Right?" Su Heng asked back calmly. Chapter 5: A Rare Silence. She couldn't tolerate any employee being so arrogant in front of her. Just when Chu Yinuo couldn't help but ask the security guard to kick Su Heng out, Su Heng raised his head, put his phone back in his pocket, and said calmly, "I just transferred 100 million to the company account. Check to see if you received it." After Su Heng finished speaking, the office fell into a rare silence. 100 million, why don't you just say a little more, say 1 billion was transferred? If you had 100 million, you wouldn't have to work for me. You've given up and don't want to do this anymore, right? Okay, you're fired. Chu Yinuo laughed in anger. Ding, Chu Yinuo's favorability towards their host is 10, and the current favorability is 14. Ding, Chu Yinuo's favorability towards their host is 10, and the current favorability is 24. Ding, Chu Yinuo's favorability towards their host is 10, and the current favorability is 34. A series of system prompts sounded, and Chu Yinuo's favorability towards Su Heng dropped directly to 34, reaching the level of extreme disgust. Obviously, Su Heng's attempt to pretend was a failure. Chu Yinuo didn't believe at all that Su Heng, a worker, could transfer 100 million to her. Su Heng was very calm about this. It doesn't matter if Chu Yinuo doesn't believe it, because his money has already been transferred. As long as Chu Yinuo checks the company's account, he will know that there is indeed an extra 100 million in the company's account. "Boss Chu, instead of scolding me, why don't you check the company's accounts?" Su Heng said very calmly. "Get out, or I'll call security." Chu Yinuo said coldly. "Mr. Chu, I advise you to check your account first." Su Heng said calmly. "Secretary, come in and take Su Heng away. He has been fired. Let him go to the finance department to get his salary." Chu Yinuo didn't listen to Su Heng at all and directly called the secretary. Soon, the secretary came in. "Okay, whatever." Su Heng laughed and stood up from the sofa. At this moment, a middle-aged woman ran over breathlessly and said anxiously, "Boss Chu, 100 million yuan has just been transferred into our company's account." Chu Yinuo's eyes widened instantly. Ding, Chu Yinuo's favorability towards their host plus 10, the current favorability is 24. Ding, Chu Yinuo's favorability towards their host plus 10, the current favorability is 14. Ding, Chu Yinuo's favorability towards their host plus 10, the current favorability is 4. "Let's go, secretary." Su Heng walked up to the secretary and prepared to go to the finance department to settle his salary. Chu Yinuo frowned and stopped Su Heng. Then she waved her hand, signaling her secretary to go out, and she went out too, leaving Su Heng alone in the office. Ding, Chu Yinuo's favorability towards their host plus 10, currently at 6. Not long after, Chu Yinuo came in, staring at Su Heng with a pair of eyes, as if trying to see something from his face. "Yinuo, the way you look at me, you must be in love with me." Ding, Chu Yinuo's favorability towards their host is 10, and the current favorability is 4. Who would have thought that after Su Heng said this, Chu Yinuo's favorability, which had been improved with great difficulty, would drop again? This woman is really difficult to deal with. However, Su Heng's mentality remained calm as always. He was not pursuing Chu Yinuo, he just used her as a tool to spend money. Since he has no feelings for Chu Yinuo, he doesn't care how Chu Yinuo likes him. "Who are you? What is your purpose in doing this?" Chu Yinuo asked coldly. "My purpose is very simple, just to seduce you," Su Heng said frankly. Chu Yinuo was confused. From childhood to adulthood, she has indeed seen many suitors, but those suitors have always been timid and secretive, and no one has ever been as bold as Su Heng to say that he wants to seduce her. Moreover, this man really put a lot of thought into pursuing her. He had been undercover in her company, pretending to be an ordinary employee, and waited until her company encountered a financial crisis before standing up at the critical moment. Thinking of this, Chu Yinuo's eyes towards Su Heng began to change. Ding, Chu Yinuo's favorability towards their host plus 20, currently 16. Women are like this. If a poor boy pretends to be a rich boy to pursue her, she will be angry and think you are dishonest. But if a rich boy disguises himself as a poor boy, it becomes romantic and she will feel very happy. I am very touched by your kindness, but I cannot accept this money. Chu Yinuo shook his head. Wait a minute, I'll ask the finance department to transfer the money back. Ding, the host cannot accept the target's transfer, otherwise it will be regarded as cashing out and will be punished. The system prompt sounded instantly. Damn it. Su Heng suddenly became anxious. No, the money has already been given, I won't take it back. Besides, the company is in trouble and needs money right now. After hearing this, Chu Yinuo nodded. Okay, this 100 million will be your investment in the company. I'll give you the share certificate in 2 days. Okay, I'm leaving. Su Heng stood up. As long as it is not judged as cashing out by the system, giving equity does not matter. After leaving the office, Su Heng thought about telling his boss Lao Liu about the situation before leaving. After all, this guy was quite nice. Although he was late many times, he never made things difficult for him and sometimes even spoke up for him. What, you're leaving? When Su Heng's boss, Lao Liu, heard that Su Heng was leaving, he frowned. It's just one time you were late. You'll be fined at most. You shouldn't be asked to resign. No. Su Heng realized that he was misunderstood by Lao Liu and was about to explain. You deserve it. As a result, a gloating voice was heard from the side. Su Heng turned around and saw that it was his mortal enemy Chu Jinshi. I don't know what's going on with this guy. He dislikes him very much and often makes trouble for him in the company. I knew something was going to go wrong one day because I was late every day. Now the president has caught me. Arshi, stop talking nonsense. Old Liu scolded Chu Jinshi, then turned to Su Heng and said. Heng, wait a minute. I'll go talk to Mr. Li and see if I can plead for you. Being late once shouldn't result in your dismissal. Brother Liu, you don't have to go. I wasn't fired. I became a shareholder of the company and don't need to come to work. Su Heng quickly stopped Brother Liu. Har ha har ha, Chu Jinshi burst into laughter. Now that you have become a shareholder of the company, why don't you just say that you have hooked up with the boss? It's funny. He was fired just because he was fired, and he even said he became a shareholder of the company. Chu Jinshi was overjoyed. He. Believe it or not, I can fire you right now. Su Heng said to Chu Jinshi with a smile. I don't believe it. Chu Jinshi shook his head. What's going on? At this moment, a majestic voice sounded. Everyone looked back and found that the beautiful CEO Chu Yinuo was walking towards them with a cold expression. President, this guy said he is a shareholder of the company. Chu Jinshi spoke loudly. Chapter 6 Proud. Company shareholders, what's going on? Isn't that Su Heng, from the programming department? He's just an ordinary programmer. How dare he say he's a shareholder of the company? This guy might be out of his mind. Hearing the discussions of people around him, Chu Jinshi smiled proudly. No one in the company knew that he actually had a hidden identity, Chu Yinuo's cousin. Although they are distant relatives, he is still Chu Yinuo's relative and knows the company's situation very well. Chu Yinuo built this company from beginning to end. She is the sole owner and has no shareholders at all. Yes, he is indeed a shareholder of the company. Chu Yinuo nodded. Did you hear clearly, Su Heng? What did the president say? Chu Jinshi was halfway through his words when he finally understood what Chu Yinuo had just said, and his eyes almost popped out. Su Heng is a shareholder of the company. The other employees' jaws also dropped. Just now, Su Heng invested 100 million yuan in the company and became a new shareholder of the company. Chu Yinuo said in a deep voice. What this kid said is actually true. Su Heng's boss, Lao Liu, couldn't help swallowing. He didn't expect that his subordinates would become shareholders of the company in the blink of an eye. This change is really huge. Mr. Jiang, I'm sorry. I was careless just now. A quick-witted employee quickly apologized. I'm sorry, Mr. Jiang. The other employees then reacted and apologized in unison very quickly. Chu Jinshi, why don't you apologize to President Jiang as soon as possible? Chu Yinuo looked at Chu Jinshi. Chu Jinshi's face instantly became as ugly as if he had eaten rotten eggs, but under the pressure from Chu Yinuo, he still had to bow and apologize to Su Hang. I'm sorry, Mr. Jiang. No, I don't accept your apology. Su Hang shook his head. You never work hard and are always careless in everything you do. The company doesn't need an employee like you. You're fired. Damn it, why did you fire me? Do you know who I am? Chu Jinshi suddenly became anxious. Mr. Jiang is right, you are fired. Chu Yinuo said from the side. Sister, how can you fire me? Chu Jinshi said loudly. Sister? When the other employees heard this name, their eyes widened again. It was the first time they knew that Chu Jinshi, the usually lazy programmer, was actually the younger brother of the beautiful CEO. Enough, I'm your cousin, not your biological sister. There's no reason for me to clean up your mess. Chu Yinuo said with a cold expression. If you offend the shareholders, I can't protect you. From now on, you are fired. After saying that, Chu Yinuo left with a cold face. In fact, she had wanted to fire Chu Jinshi a long time ago. This guy is always making trouble in the company, not doing his job properly, and only knows how to ask her for a raise or promotion. If it weren't for the fact that they were relatives, she would have given up on it long ago if she hadn't been fired because it would have been embarrassing. Now Su Hang wants to fire Chu Jinshi, which is exactly what she wants. Ding, Chu Yinuo's favorability towards their host plus 10, currently 26. When the system prompt sounded, Su Hang was startled instantly. What's going on? Shouldn't you be very angry about your brother being fired? And how come his favorability increased? Although he was confused, Su Hang still left the company. After all, he is a shareholder now, so how can he still work like an employee? After leaving the company, Su Hang subconsciously returned to his rented small house and checked the money in his bank account. Well, there were indeed a lot more RMB in it. The system's rebate is 10%, which means that if Su Hang spends 1,000 yuan on a girl, he can get 1 yuan. He had previously transferred 100 million yuan to Chu Yinuo's company account, and the 10% rebate was 100,000 renminbi. With the 100,000 renminbi, Su Hang quickly paid back the loans and flower loans he owed to avoid affecting his credit. Then, he had nothing to do. It's true, Su Hang has nothing to do. He used to be at work at this time, but now he is no longer at work, and for a moment he doesn't know what to do. There was no choice, Su Hang had to take out his mobile phone and subconsciously clicked on the live broadcast. When he is at school or work, he occasionally likes to watch live broadcast to relax. Now that he has nothing to do, he instinctively turns on the live broadcast. If I give a tip to a female anchor, can I get a rebate by spending my super rich money? An idea suddenly popped into Su Hang's mind. Thinking of this, he immediately started to recharge his account. Unexpectedly, the recharge was actually successful. Ding, the system prompts that the recharge amount is limited to rewarding the female anchor. The system prompt sounded, which immediately made Su Hang excited. This is really timely relief. In real life, you have to find reasons to spend money on girls, and spending too much at once can easily scare others. But it's different on the internet. There is no limit on how much money you can spend on girls. Spending tens of millions a day is no big deal. The money spending efficiency is extremely high. If you spend 10 million, you can get a rebate of 10,000. If you spend 100 million, you can get a rebate of 100,000. If you spend 100 billion. Thinking of this, Su Hang couldn't help it. He opened the Douyu live broadcast software and started looking for the female anchors that he usually liked. These anchors are all good looking and very popular. He likes to watch their live broadcasts when he has nothing to do. But at that time he was just a level 5 nobody, and he usually just gave out free fish balls, and the anchor didn't even take him seriously. But now, it's different. Don't compare yourself to others too much. If you want to compare who wakes up earlier. Play is play, joke is joke, but don't make fun of Sister Ju. Just at this time, Ju Xiaoyi, a female anchor that Su Hang usually likes, came online. This female anchor has a good appearance. She used to be in a girl group and served as a commentator for League of Legends. However, what made her popular was not her appearance but her interesting soul. When Ju Xiaoyi is live streaming, her mouth is always open and her expression changes like turning pages of a book. Various ghost videos are posted all over Bilibili. Especially when it comes to telling jokes, she can do it with ease, and her jokes are even dirtier than men. So much so that some people lament why such a beautiful face has a broken mouth. She is also the leading anchor of Duo's League of Legends section, and her live broadcasts usually have over 1 million viewers. Although her breasts are a bit flat, a pair of cups, this does not conceal her charm. I wonder what it feels like to lick such a popular anchor. Of course, even if you lick this kind of anchor, it would probably be difficult to make an appointment with him. After all, she is a wealthy person with a monthly income of 1 million, and there are many wealthy people who like her, so it would be difficult to increase her favorability. But after thinking about it carefully, Suheng didn't care. It's enough to get the rebate, whether you can make an appointment is a matter for the future. No matter what, you should fill your wallet first. Sister Ju, I want to take your number 1 spot in a second. Suheng immediately sent a barrage of comments. Play is play, joke is joke, but don't make fun of Sister Ju. Someone gave this woman a gift. No way, no way, no way. Someone actually gave this old woman a gift. Are you blind? If she didn't have a mouth, I might. Hey, what's wrong with you guys? How can you talk about a girl like that? Other anchors fans are here to protect the anchors, why are you guys trying to smear me? Zhu Xiaoyi immediately showed a look of anger. How dare you say that to A? You are such a bad gamer and you still have the nerve to say that. Never mind, I'll go first to show my respect. Sister Ju, you come too. The one upstairs has such a strong taste. There was a lot of discussion in the barrage, all of which were criticizing Zhu Xiaoyi. As for Suheng's barrage, it had already sunk to the bottom of the sea without causing even a splash. Suheng smiled slightly. The anchors are also normal people. Generally speaking, they will only pay attention to the barrage from the property managers or the rich. As for the barrage from the losers, they will not even pay any attention to them. After all, these anchors are supported by the rich. The money given by the losers is less than 1/10,000th of that given by the rich, so of course the anchors will not pay any attention to them. Chapter 7 Endless Rewards. In the past, Suheng was also a loser who couldn't even afford a credit card and spent money for free every day, but now. Suheng picked up the phone and clicked it. On the screen, a golden rocket flew into the sky. The entire live broadcast room was covered with dazzling special effects. Wow, thank you for the super rocket sent by brother Perseverance. Love you, Moir. Zhu Xiaoyi's eyes lit up and she quickly made a heart gesture with her hands. A super rocket is worth 2,000 RMB. Apart from the rich, few people give it as a gift. Normally, she can only receive a few at most in one night. The old woman has no moral integrity. You almost want to drool. You change your expression so quickly, you are worthy of being Sister Ju. Where's that arrogant look from before? The onlookers looked on with disdain. Sister Ju doesn't care at all. She became famous because she is thick-skinned and can change her face quickly. As long as she can get gifts, she doesn't care about anything else. However, this rocket launch was just the beginning. After the first super rocket is fired, it is followed by the second, third, fourth, and fifth. It is much more durable than that thing, and the ammunition is endless. In just a few minutes, Suheng fired a full 100 super rockets, which was extremely persistent. Zhu Xiaoyi's eyes were shining, her look was blurry and almost wet. She has been live streaming for several years and this situation is rare. Unless there is a platform competition or carnival, the guild will help to get so many gifts and compete for rankings. In normal live broadcasts, there are actually very few people who are so generous. After all, everyone's money is hard-earned, and only a few people would waste it. After all, there are only a few rich people who are crazy about spending money. This kid is so terrifying. I never expected that someone would actually give a gift to an old woman. Rich dad, are you still in need of a son? The onlookers started to make a noise. But the gifts are not over yet. A super rocket costs 2,000 yuan, and Suheng can only give a rebate of 2 yuan, so a rebate of 200 yuan is given for 100 rockets. Zhu Xiaoyi was satisfied, but Suheng was still very hungry. He used Kato Eagle's hand and tapped his fingers frantically on the phone screen, leaving after images. Next up. On the entire Douyu live streaming platform, on the public screens of all the anchors' live broadcast rooms, there was an endless rain of rockets. This drift lasted for a whole hour. The super rockets never stopped, and the spectators were all shocked. Perseverance, I give anchor Zhu Xiaoyi a super rocket of 49.98. Persevere, and give anchor Zhu Xiaoyi a super rocket of 49.99. Perseverance, I give anchor Zhu Xiaoyi a super rocket of 5,000. Zhu Xiaoyi was confused. She has been live streaming for several years and has met many wealthy people, but this is the first time she has seen such a wealthy person. Without saying a word, he gave her 5,000 super rockets, which were worth 10 million. If she shares it with the platform guild, she can get at least 5 million. The income is 5 million a day, which is 1.5 billion a year. How terrible it is. The key point is that she has never known this person, and it is not an account of her guild, but a wild rich man. In other words, this is real money that does not need to be refunded. Thank you for the 5,000 super rockets, boss. I love you. I'll give you a heart, or I'll bow to you. Boss, why don't you say anything? Are you still here? Boss, can you add me on WeChat? Zhu Xiaoyi asked several times, but no one spoke. Someone actually gave gifts to old women. It's horrible. $10 million went down the drain in just 1 hour. It seems that even if she has a mouth, some people still like her. This is so fucking awesome. A guy I've never heard of has topped the overall rankings in just 1 hour. The onlookers were equally stunned. But Su Heng couldn't care less about that for the time being. Because his hands were numb. And it's not just ordinary numbness, it's extreme numbness. I got too emotional just now and moved too vigorously. I didn't stop and I think I hurt my hand. However, what he did has already caused a sensation in Douyu. The account, Persistence, is remembered by countless anchors, especially the female anchors. The viewers in the live broadcast room also remembered this wealthy man who suddenly appeared out of nowhere. After all, there are not many rich people who can give out 5,000 rounds of super fire at once. The key point is that this is not a competition or a carnival, which means that this rich man is not a guild account, but a real big shot, a super rich man. Soon, a large number of people began to follow Su Heng's Douyu account, and many anchors began to send private messages to Su Heng, especially those female anchors who were eager to get ahead. This account was also contacted by some advertisements, as well as passers-by who were looking for support or to borrow money. For unknown reasons, Su Heng's account gained more than 10,000 followers, and the number is still increasing. The speed of increasing followers is faster than that of some anchors. There were even some self-media editors who thought this was a good gimmick and started writing related articles, which accidentally became a hot topic. Looking at the bank notification showing an increase of 10,000 yuan, Su Heng felt very miserable. Other people make millions of dollars, but he only gets 10,000 yuan in rebates. While others were eating meat, he not only didn't get to eat the bones, he didn't even get to drink the soup. He only got a few pitiful leftovers. But there is no other way. In order to make money, this is the only way. Su Heng rested for most of the day before his arm returned to normal. Then, he opened the live broadcast room. At this point, most of the anchors have come online, especially in the League of Legends area, where there are many famous anchors. Male anchors like those in the Evil Cult and Aunt Jin are extremely popular. Unfortunately, Su Heng's money can only be used to spend on girls, so he still clicked into Zhu Xiaoyi's live broadcast room. This time, Su Heng is no longer a nobody at level 1, but a big shot at level 120. Although not as cool as a noble, he still has some presence. Hengshen is here. That man is here. Welcome Hengshen. Welcome Hengshen. Welcome Hengshen. Hengshen, are you interested in joining the fan group? You must be kidding. This big guy needs to join the fan group. You are dreaming. Zhu Xiaoyi's eyes lit up, and she didn't even care about the game character she was controlling. She quickly said, "Thank you, Hengshen. I am very touched by your reward before. I am also very grateful for your support for my career. If possible, can you add WeChat? I sent you a private message before. I have to say that those who can become big anchors do have some ability." Although this sentence did not promise anything, the tone was very sincere and made people feel comfortable listening to it. Su Heng usually liked to watch Zhu Xiaoyi's live broadcast. After hearing this, he quickly went backstage to look for Zhu Xiaoyi's private message. As soon as he became famous, all kinds of demons and monsters came out. Many people sent private messages to Su Heng in the background, and countless people asked for money to borrow and advertise. It took him half a day to find Zhu Xiaoyi's private message. Su Heng copied and pasted Zhu Xiaoyi's WeChat ID and decisively added her as a friend. After waiting for a long time without any response, Su Heng went into the live broadcast room again and posted a message. Zhu Xiaoyi, I added you on WeChat, please approve it. Chapter 8, Born Weak. Okay. Soon, Zhu Xiaoyi accepted Su Heng's friend request. Su Heng watched for a while, sent out 100 rockets, and then went to another live broadcast room. Even if you are licking a girl, you cannot just lick one woman, otherwise the woman will think that you can only have her. Coincidentally, at this time, a female anchor that Su Heng liked, Xiao Juju, came online in the League of Legends section. It has to be said that the number of female anchors in the League of Legends area is much smaller than that of male anchors. Except for Zhu Xiaoyi, other female anchors are second-tier anchors and are far less popular than male anchors. After all, when it comes to gaming, female anchors are inherently at a disadvantage. Xiao Juju is also a female anchor in the League of Legends section. She has average skills but a high appearance. If Zhu Xiaoyi is a gorgeous rose, then Xiao Juju is a daisy in the mountains, pretty and lovely. Here comes Hengshen. Welcome Hengshen. Welcome Hengshen. Shen Heng, you didn't go to Zhu Xiaoyi's live broadcast room, but came to Xiao Zhozhou's place. You're falling in love with someone else too quickly. Hengshen, you gave 100 rockets to Zhu Xiaoyi's live broadcast room before, so you should give at least one rocket to Xiao Zhozhou's live broadcast room. At least you should show some appreciation. God Heng, are you still in need of a son? I can serve tea and water or anything like that. As soon as Su Heng arrived at Zhu Xiaoyi's live broadcast room, many comments began to lead the rhythm. These are just spectators who enjoy watching the fun. Welcome Hengshen. When Xiao Juju noticed Su Heng coming, her eyes lit up and there was anticipation in her eyes. She is just a second-tier anchor, and her level is not even 100 yet. Hengshen came today, right? Su Heng did not disappoint Xiao Zhozhou's expectations and posted a comment. Xiao Juju, I will take your number 1 spot. As soon as this comment came out, the entire live broadcast room was in an uproar. Hengshen has started, and he is about to start again. This kid is so terrifying, yet he has such financial resources. God Heng, are you interested in Xiao Juju? Xiao Juju is going to be famous today. Faced with the scrolling barrage of comments, Su Heng blew the battle horn with a rocket. This time he learned his lesson and didn't click anymore. He just pressed the screen hard and didn't let go. So, in Xiao Juju's live broadcast room, rocket special effects began to fill the screen like crazy. First shot. The second shot. The 100th round. The 1000th round. From the moment Su Heng sent out the first rocket, the special effects continued for a full hour. The rocket finally stopped when Su Heng's hands were sore from pressing. The popularity of Xiao Zhozhou's live broadcast room has also reached an unprecedented level of 5 billion. All the audience in the live broadcast room were dumbfounded. Xiao Juju was even more surprised, with tears in her eyes. She has been live streaming for so many years, but this is the first time she has seen someone send so many gifts. Her anchor level was immediately raised to level 99, only one level away from the maximum level 100. I'm shocked and numb. Hengshen, you're too scary. You posted more than 5,000 super hot posts in the afternoon and more than 5,000 posts in the evening. You have too much money and don't know where to spend it. Hengshen, what do you do? Can I go work for you? I'll be your lackey. Dad, I can be your daughter, or even your goddaughter. The barrage of comments in Xiao Zhozhou's live broadcast room was scrolling wildly. At this moment, 50% of Duyu's viewers had gathered in this live broadcast room. It was not until 5 minutes after the rocket rain stopped that some of the audience left. Even so, the popularity of Xiao Zhozhou's live broadcast room still topped the list and did not drop for a long time. Hengshen, are you still here? Let's at each other on WeChat. What shows do you like to watch? I'll perform for you right now. Xiao Juju spoke excitedly and incoherently. In the anchor industry, it can be said that those who are in the industry will die of drought or flood. Although there is only a 1-tier difference between first-tier anchors and second-tier anchors, their income differs by more than 10 times. The levels of first-tier anchors are basically full, while the levels of second-tier anchors are still far from the full level. Su Heng's wave of gifts directly pushed Xiao Juju from a second-tier anchor to a first-tier anchor. Henshin, are you still here? Xiao Juju really wanted to thank Su Heng, but unfortunately, Su Heng was already chatting with someone else on WeChat at that time. Because I just sent him a WeChat message. Su Heng, are you here? I want to treat you to a meal. After returning home, Song Lily was conflicted for a long time, even though she found it incredible that Su Heng really liked her. However, apart from this reason, Song Lily could not find any other reason. Who would give a gift worth so much money if they didn't really like it? You know, even if Song Lily had been hanging out in nightclubs, those rich second generations would only spend tens of thousands of yuan at most, and would not spend more. But Su Heng spent more than 1 million yuan on her at one time. The most important thing is that Su Heng still doesn't want to sleep with her. If this isn't true love, Song Lily wouldn't understand what true love is. Although she didn't know when Su Heng fell in love with her, Song Lily would not allow herself to let down this sincere feeling. So, after sorting out the mess in her heart, Song Lily decisively sent a message to Su Heng, preparing to ask Su Heng out to make things clear. Su Heng was not quite clear about Song Lily's inner thoughts, but he was still happy to see that Song Lily wanted to invite him to dinner. This was the first time a girl had asked him out for dinner. Maybe he could take the opportunity to spend some money and get some rebates. The most important thing is that Song Lily's favorability towards him has reached 87 points, only 3 points away from 90 points. When the favorability reaches 90, there will be a mysterious reward. The key lies in the word mysterious, which makes Su Heng itchy. The system is so extraordinary, and this mysterious reward must be extraordinary as well. What could it be? Peerless martial arts, magical pets, peerless magic weapons, or various black technologies. The more he thought about it, the more Su Heng felt itchy, and he wished he could raise Song Lily's favorability to 90 points right now. Thinking of this, he typed quickly to Song Lily. Sure, you tell me the time and place, and I will be there on time. Then I'll wait for you at the Immortal Food Shop at 6 p.m. tomorrow. Can. After agreeing on a time for dinner, Su Heng struck while the iron was hot and started chatting with Song Lily. Contrary to Su Heng's expectations, Song Lily was actually very enthusiastic. Often when Su Heng sent a line of messages, she would reply 4 or 5 times. She was very lively. As they chatted, Su Heng could hardly keep up with Song Lily's pace. Could it be that this woman was still driving on WeChat, driving so fast that Su Heng couldn't even see the wheels of the other car? The two people had a very happy chat. Thinking back to when I used to send messages to Yinuo, I would often send more than a dozen messages before the other party would only reply to one, and that was 2 or 3 hours later. Su Heng felt very sad. He always thought that as long as he tried hard to be nice to Yinuo would be moved by him and stay with him forever. But who knew that Yinuo had always treated Su Heng as a backup, and as soon as she met a big boss, she kicked Su Heng out. Speak of Cao Cao and he will appear. Chapter 9, Playing with the Master. Su Heng and Song Lily were chatting happily, and Yinuo also sent him a message at this critical moment. Su Heng, are you here? I'm sorry. I know I hurt you, but I was also deceived by that bastard Liu Jun. It's all his fault. That's why I'm like this. Actually, in my heart, I still have feelings for you. Can you forgive me? Here we go again. Su Heng couldn't help laughing. This is because of anger. You dumped me and said such harsh words to me, and now you come to ask for forgiveness. Why are you so thick-skinned? Su Heng recalled that Yinuo was like this in the past. She was always hot and cold towards him, playing with him in the palm of her hand, and turning him into a bootlicker. Now, you are using the same trick again. Do you think that I, Su Heng, am born a coward and I must have you? Although he was angry, Su Heng still edited a message to Yinuo. Yinuo, actually, I was really angry at first, but after thinking about it carefully, I know it's not your fault. Don't worry, I won't blame you. There is no way. After all, she is a person you spend money on, so you have to keep licking her. In the house that Yinuo rented, she was stunned when she saw the message from Su Heng. To be honest, even she, a green tea girl, knew that what she did was really too much, but she didn't expect that Su Heng would forgive her so easily. Could this be a sarcasm? But it doesn't look like it. Of course, Yinuo didn't really care whether Su Heng forgave her or not. She just wanted to know why Su Heng could afford to buy a bag worth 100,000 for Song Lily. Thank you, Su Heng, I feel much better after hearing what you said. By the way, where does your money come from? Really? Su Hang immediately sneered. He knew that Yinuo, the green tea bitch, had no good intentions. I guess if she hadn't seen that she could afford the bag, she wouldn't have paid any attention to him even if she knew she was being cheated. Su Hang has seen through this woman. She is a pure green tea bitch and an invisible gold digger. The key is that she is extremely self-righteous and stupid. It's completely useless to give true feelings to a woman like this, because she only cares about money. It just so happened that Su Hang also needed to find a rebate machine. Oh, actually it's like this. There was the World Cup a while ago, and I made 30 million by betting on football. Su Hang made up an excuse. 30 million. Yinuo's eyes suddenly lit up. Unexpectedly, the brainless bootlicker whom she had always looked down upon suddenly turned over a new leaf. If we were to fall in love again, then we could. Thinking of this, Yinuo couldn't sit still anymore and quickly sent a message to Su Hang. Su Hang, I feel that what I did to you before was really too much. WeChat messages alone cannot express my apology. How about this, I'll treat you to a meal tomorrow, you decide the time and place, okay? Hee hee. When Su Hang saw the news about Yinuo, he immediately smiled. You still think I am the spare tire I used to be? Whenever you send a message, I will stupidly reply with dozens of messages. You are wrong, I am not the same as before. You are a little naive if you still want to play the same trick on me. After reading the message, Su Hang didn't even reply. He turned around and continued chatting with Song Lily. In the past, it was Yinuo who kept him in check, but today it is his turn to keep Yinuo in check. He wants to turn passivity into initiative and turn a bootlicker into a scumbag. Isn't he Yinuo a green tea? He wants to be against green tea. He wants to become a scumbag who specializes in dealing with green tea. He wanted to return the humiliation he had suffered from Yinuo 100-fold. Seeing that Su Hang didn't reply to the message, Yinuo became a little anxious. Especially when she thought of Su Hang's 30 million, she felt even more anxious. Since Su Hang stopped sending messages to her, she started sending messages to Su Hang instead. Su Hang, it's okay not to eat. We can go sing together. Or, let's go to the square and talk. Do you remember that we had a lot of fun in the square last time? If you don't have time tomorrow, the weekend is fine. Su Hang, why don't you reply to my message? Su Hang, are you still here? Did you fall asleep? Can you please pay attention to me? Yinuo sent more than a dozen messages in a row, but Su Hang never replied. This time, she went crazy. She finally understood the torment she felt when Su Hang sent her more than a dozen messages but she didn't reply for several hours. It's so fucking torturous. Song Lily, we've been chatting so late. I'm going to bed now. Good night. Su Hang, good night. After chatting with Song Lily, Su Hang slowly opened Yinuo's WeChat and found that she no longer sent messages. Maybe it was because Su Hang didn't respond for a long time, so she gave up. Su Hang had no sympathy for this. Seeing that it was getting late, he went to bed to sleep, but he couldn't fall asleep no matter how hard he tried. He had no choice but to open his phone and watch the live broadcast. His live broadcast has been always on in the background and has not been closed. When you click on it, you will see Xiao Juju's live broadcast room. Several hours have passed and the heat has faded. The popularity of Xiao Zhou's live broadcast room has remained at over 1 million, which is higher than usual and has reached the level of first-line anchors. Thank you Henrui for my son's card, thank you. Xiao Juju continued the live broadcast as usual. Although it was very late, he was still very excited. Just today, she reached the peak of her career as a broadcaster, earning several million a day, which is equivalent to her total income since her live broadcast, and her total income is even less than today. Thank you for the 15 glow sticks, Wobojan. Are you still here? Don't you have anything to do? It's so late, and you've been staying in my live broadcast room. Don't other live broadcast rooms need to record videos? You don't really like me, do you? You don't really have any feelings for me like they said. That's disgusting, I have to say, I don't have any other thoughts about you. You're still in my live studio late at night. I have a feeling that something bad is going to happen. I feel really scared. When he said this, Xiao Zhou's body actually trembled. As soon as these words were spoken, a wave of comments suddenly appeared on the screen. No way, what the anchor said is too hurtful. After all, they gave you a gift worth dozens of dollars and recorded so many videos for you. You actually said that to them. It's so rude. The host said that because she only gave a gift worth a few dozen yuan. If she gave 10 million yuan like Henshin did, do you think she would still say that? It's like my goddess rejecting me, emoticon, crying. As if sensing something had gone wrong, Xiao Juju hurried to remedy the situation. I'm just kidding, don't take it seriously, brother Hua, I'm just kidding. Unfortunately, it's too late. How many true words are said in a joking way? A dog licks until he is left with nothing. The anchor's skills have probably been played out by the rich a long time ago. Juju is a bad woman. Nonsense, Juju is a good person. She knows that she is not clean anymore and is not worthy of Xiaohua, so she uses such vicious words to stimulate him not to like her. Brother Meng, please type your understanding on the public screen. Chapter 10, Determined Payment. Obviously, these words were a bit hurtful, leading to many people mocking them. Even Su Hang, who was watching the live broadcast, felt that it was a bit too much. For some reason, he suddenly thought of himself. He was so humble to Xinyu at the beginning. Xinyu posted a message on WeChat Moments this morning, saying that she had taken a fancy to a pair of limited edition shoes. He would immediately spend money to buy the shoes and then present them to Xinyu. Sometimes Xinyu said that she had no money to pay for rent, utilities, and he would decisively transfer the money, even if the money was not enough. However, Xinyu was always hot and cold towards him. She was only enthusiastic occasionally, making him think he had found love, and then he gave twice as much. But who knew that what he got in return was not touching, but betrayal? The current anchor Xiao Juju is very similar to Xinyu in the past. She is indifferent to the liquors and takes the small efforts for granted. Thinking of this, Su Heng suddenly felt bored and a little sad. He was not in the mood to watch the live broadcast. The next day, the agreed time arrived. Su Heng took a taxi to Shixianfang and was very surprised to see Song Lily. It was really a surprise. In the past, whenever he made an appointment with Xinyu, he would always be late. If he was half an hour late, that was considered as a courtesy, and sometimes he might even be several hours late. Moreover, Xinyu, the green tea girl, doesn't allow Su Heng to be late, and she says that it depends on your sincerity. I go to your sincerity. Unexpectedly, on our first date with Song Lily, she actually showed up on time. To be honest, if it weren't for the fact that Song Lily used to be in the nightclub circle and had a bad reputation, Su Heng would almost be moved by her. Brother Su Heng, you're here. Song Lily also looked very happy. A favorability of 87 points is already very high, and many couples may not have such a high favorability. Seeing Su Heng coming over, Song Lily's heart was filled with love. And today she was obviously dressed up carefully, with exquisite makeup on, a mid-length white t-shirt on the upper body and a mid-length skirt on the lower body, which not only set off her beautiful figure, but also revealed her calves as smooth as jade, which made people want to reach out and play with them. Standing at the door of the store, almost 90% of the people coming and going turned their heads, and many girls couldn't help but look back. I'm sorry, I'm late. You must have been waiting for me for a long time. Seeing that Song Lily arrived earlier than him, Su Heng felt a little ashamed. No, just a few minutes. Song Lily said very understandingly. In fact, she arrived half an hour ago, not for any other reason but mainly because she was too impatient. Especially when she thought about what Su Heng said to her a few days ago. Then let's go in. Su Heng took Song Lily into the restaurant. This restaurant called Shixianfang is very high-end, the decoration is very stylish and the environment is very quiet. Correspondingly, the prices here are very expensive. Just ordering a few dishes will cost more than 1,000 yuan. But Su Heng didn't care at all. After all, he was spending the system's money, and he could also take this opportunity to get some rebates. The two of them ate and chatted, and felt that time passed very quickly. Soon, the two of them had almost finished eating, and Song Lily started wiping her mouth with a napkin. Just when Su Heng was about to pay the bill. Suddenly, a slender hand patted him on the back. Hey, Su Heng, are you eating here too? A familiar voice came from behind Su Heng. He turned around and found that it was the cold female president Chu Yinuo. She was wearing a smart black suit today, with dark clouds and flaming red lips, which made her look sexy and cool. Oops. Su Heng was a little confused. He didn't expect that he would meet Chu Yinuo after finally coming out for a meal. Moreover, it was a critical time when he was with Song Lily. You know, these two people are his spending targets. What an unfortunate timing. The two spending goals just happened to coincide with each other. This is simply a rollover scene. Su-hang, who is she? Song Lily also stood up in surprise, looking at Chu Yinuo with hostility. When did such a beautiful woman appear beside Su-hang, with a noble and cold temperament and delicate and noble features, making her feel ashamed of herself? Su-hang immediately broke out in a cold sweat. If this is not done properly, the car may flip over in an instant. But after a careful analysis, Su-hang was no longer panicked. Because from beginning to end, he didn't promise anything to Song Lily and Chu Yinuo. Although he said that he wanted to seduce Chu Yinuo's favorability towards him was not high, so he was not afraid of it decreasing. As for Song Lily, he gave her a gift worth millions, but said nothing from beginning to end, let alone confirming their relationship. He didn't even say a few ambiguous words. To put it bluntly, Song Lily and he were just friends, and they never crossed the line from beginning to end. She had no reason to blame Su-hang at all. Thinking of this, Su-hang immediately calmed down and was no longer worried. Sure enough, as long as you don't take the initiative and don't push the relationship forward, there will be no setbacks. Oh, Song Lily, let me introduce you. This is my business partner, Mr. Chu Yinuo. Boss Chu, this is my friend, her name is Song Lily. Su-hang introduced the two women to each other, especially emphasizing the word friends. The purpose is to remind Song Lily that you and I are nothing, just friends. Sure enough, after hearing this, Song Lily suddenly came to her senses. What reasons and standing did she have to question Su-hang? From the beginning to the end, she and Su-hang were just friends. Strictly speaking, they were not even friends. She was just the bestie of Su-hang's ex-girlfriend. Su-hang didn't owe her anything. On the contrary, she owed Su-hang because Su-hang spent more than 1 million on her. However, the appearance of such a beautiful woman next to Su-hang still made her panic. Compared with the other person's stunning appearance, she was at most a passerby who was more pleasing to the eye. Ding, Song Lily's favorability +1, current favorability 88. Ding, Chu Yinuo's favorability +2, the current favorability is 18. When the system prompt sounded, Su-hang was startled instantly. What happened? How come when these two people who are good at spending money met, not only did nothing go wrong, but their favorability towards each other actually increased? Woman, why are you so hard to understand? In fact, the reason is very simple. What girls like is not the stupid lickspittle who licks their faces and begs for mercy, but the charming boys. What makes a charming boy? It's hard to say, but those who are surrounded by beautiful women are often charming. In the past, when Song Lily was with Su-hang, the person she compared herself to was Yinuo. Although Yinuo is also very beautiful, she is too stupid. She is not worried at all that Su-hang will be seduced away by Yinuo. But Chu Yinuo appeared next to Su-hang, which made Song Lily feel a sense of crisis all of a sudden, and she was particularly afraid of losing him. There is a saying that goes, what you can't get is the best. Similarly, things that are fought over are good things. Although Su-hang is not being fought over now, he is not so easy to get. Now that a competitor has appeared around her, Song Lily begins to feel a little afraid that she will not be able to get Su-hang. As for the reason why Chu Yinuo's favorability increased, it was even simpler. She worked hard alone in a big city and finally built up a career, but then she ran into a crisis and almost failed. Su-hang's 100 million was like timely help, which provided her with great assistance and eased her crisis, so it was natural that his favorability increased. Hello, Mr. Chu. Song Lily extended her hand to Chu Yinuo first. Hello, Miss Shen. Chu Yinuo also responded generously. Chapter 11. A little awkward. On the surface, this seemed to be a very calm handshake, but for some reason, Su-hang smelled a faint smell of gunpowder next to him. Yinuo, who is this person? Why don't you introduce him to me? Just when the atmosphere was getting a little awkward, a voice broke the awkward atmosphere. Behind Chu Yinuo, a handsome young man dressed in designer clothes came over with a very friendly smile on his face. Mr. Zheng, this is the shareholder of my company, Mr. Su-hang Jiang. Chu Yinuo introduced. It's Mr. Jiang. Hello. Zheng Bin extended his hand towards Su-hang. Since the other party was so polite, Su-hang couldn't refuse and also extended his hand. Since you are Yinuo's friend, you are also my friend. Hello, this is my business card, please accept it. Zheng Bin also handed Su Heng a business card. Su Heng looked down. Wow, the general manager of Chongbin Group, what a famous title. By the way, my birthday is in a few days. Can I ask you to come over? Zheng Bin said very enthusiastically. This. Su Heng was a little hesitant. It seemed a bit inappropriate to attend someone's birthday party after just meeting him. Okay, Mr. Zheng, Mr. Jiang will definitely be there in a few days. Chu Yinuo agreed on behalf of Su Heng. After hearing this, Su Heng couldn't refuse and had to nod. Then I will welcome Mr. Jiang. Zheng Bin smiled slightly. Su Heng, please continue eating. I have something else to do, so I'll leave first. Chu Yinuo greeted Su Heng and left the restaurant with Zheng Bin. Meeting Chu Yinuo was just a small episode that passed quickly. However, Song Lily seemed to be stimulated and said casually, Su Heng, this Ms. Chu is so beautiful. In an instant, Su Heng's hair stood up. As we all know, this sentence is a girl's ultimate move and a fatal test. If you dare to agree with her and say that Chu Yinuo is beautiful, she will get angry. But if you don't say anything, that won't work either, because the girl will think you agree. She is indeed very pretty, but she is not my type. Su Heng had a flash of inspiration and came up with a perfect answer. Then what type do you like? Song Lily posed another new difficult question. You are more suitable. Su Heng turned from passive to active, and changed from defense to offense. Hateful. Song Lily covered her mouth and chuckled, and finally let Su Heng go. Su Heng timidly paid the bill with Song Lily. He originally wanted to take the opportunity to improve his favorability, but under Song Lily's attack, he ended up feeling exhausted. This made Su Heng sigh. It turned out that being a scumbag was not that easy. He even wanted to learn from that bastard Liu Jun and ask him how he could manipulate girls at will. Su Heng, let's go for a walk. Song Lily suggested. Okay. Su Heng nodded. He originally wanted to leave, but thinking that he still had 2 points of favorability, Song Lily's favorability would reach 90 points. When it reaches 90 points, there will be a mysterious reward, and he is a little reluctant to give it up. If you work hard, maybe you can get it today. So, he agreed to go out for a walk with Song Lily. Under the bright moonlight, the city became a sea of lights, and men and women walking on the streets formed a beautiful picture. Su Heng, actually, I have always wanted to say something to you. Song Lily held Su Heng's hand and walked for a while, then suddenly bit her red lips with a serious expression. I want to ask, do you like me or not? Song Lily seemed to have said this with great courage. After she finished speaking, her beautiful big eyes stared at Su Heng with a very nervous expression. I just used you to make money, and you actually want me to confess my feelings. Su Heng was shocked instantly. He had racked his brains to resolve those waves of fatal attacks, but no one expected that the real big move was hidden here. On the surface, this is a very simple question, just asking whether Su Heng likes her. If you like it, then stay together. If you don't like it, then separate. But the problem is that Su Heng cannot choose either of these two answers. If they are together, he will not be able to spend money on other girls anymore, let alone take advantage of the system. In this way, wouldn't he become the same loser again? But if you say you don't like it, then your favorability will definitely plummet, and all your previous efforts will be in vain. Therefore, Su Heng had to come up with an answer that was the best of both worlds, neither saying he liked it nor saying he didn't like it. This is simply a death question. A drop of cold sweat broke out on Su Heng's forehead. Su Heng, answer me, do you like me or not? Just at this moment, Song Lily took a small step forward and asked aggressively. Seeing that Su Heng didn't answer for a long time, she became a little anxious. Ding, Song Lily's favorability 1, current favorability 87. Ding, Song Lily's favorability 1, current favorability 86. Ding, Song Lily's favorability 1. Not getting an answer for a long time made Song Lily suspicious, and the favorability she had worked so hard to improve actually dropped. The situation has become extremely tense. Su Heng had to speak, and once he spoke, his words would have to be decisive. Actually, I don't know either. Su Heng suddenly pretended to be helpless. First of all, Su Heng avoided the question silently, and like and dislike became not knowing, which means he both liked and disliked it, and was in between. How could I not know? Song Lily frowned, still holding on to the core. Actually, you know, I used to like Shin Yu very much. Su-hang looked up at the sky, and a trace of tears appeared in the depths of his eyes. But, I was so good to her and gave my heart to her, but she dumped me in the end. Since then, my heart has been damaged and it's hard to open up again. At this moment, in this situation. Under the moonlight, Su-hang seemed like a wounded prodigal son, so pitiful, so heartbreaking, making people want to hold him in their arms and comfort him. This is the best way Su-hang came up with to deal with it. He didn't say he liked it or didn't like it, he just said he had been hurt, emotionally hurt. The best part is that Sung Lily also knew about this matter, so she would not suspect that Su-hang made it up. Since the relationship has been hurt, then you definitely can't start the next one so soon, right? It's normal to subconsciously not respond, isn't that normal? Sure enough, this performance touched Sung Lily. Not only did she not blame Su-hang, but she felt very guilty. She blamed herself for being so selfish in wanting a positive answer from Su-hang, ignoring the fact that he had been badly hurt emotionally. This is really selfish. Chapter 12 More Self-Blame. Especially when she saw Su-hang was about to cry, she felt even more guilty. Ding, Sung Lily's favorability plus 10, current favorability 88. Ding, Sung Lily's favorability plus 1, current favorability 89. Listening to the system's prompts, Su-hang breathed a sigh of relief. I managed to avoid this fatal blow, and my favorability not only didn't decrease, but it actually increased a little. It's just a little bit away from the 90 points required to receive the reward. Of course, don't underestimate this point. In fact, this point may be even more difficult to improve than the previous 89 points of favorability. Su-hang, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have pushed you. This is all my fault. When Sung Lily saw Su-hang's heartbroken look, her maternal instinct burst out and she couldn't help but go forward and hug Su-hang in her arms. What women like most is a man with a story, and Su-hang happens to be a man with a story. Feeling Sung Lily's huge chest, Su-hang was a little eager and almost couldn't hold back his gun. To be honest, this woman actually has a really good figure. But the problem is that Su-hang can't do it, otherwise, the image of a love-broken prince that he had worked so hard to create would be completely ruined. But, you let a young man full of vigor and vitality look at a beautiful woman but not be able to eat her. Isn't that a sin? This life is really difficult. It was late at night and Su-hang returned to his rental house. In the end, nothing happened between him and Sung Lily. There is no way. A lack of patience will ruin great plans. If he and Sung Lily did that, he would have no reason to spend money on other girls in the future. Besides, he was tired. The situation was extremely critical several times today, and he almost would have been completely defeated. After finally managing to cope with it, Su-hang was already physically and mentally exhausted. He went straight to bed after washing up. The next day, Su-hang learned from his mistakes, opened his phone and started searching for emotional teaching materials. He felt that he needed extra lessons. He is a little overwhelmed as he has only licked 2 girls now. What will happen if he has to deal with more girls in the future? He must gain experience and level up. Without leaving the house, Su-hang studied at home for 3 days until he was interrupted by a phone call. Hey, Su-hang, where are you? Chu Yinuo. Su-hang was a little surprised. Chu Yinuo would actually call him on her own initiative? It's me, where are you? Chu Yinuo continued to ask. I'm at home, what can I do for you? Su-hang was completely confused and at a loss as to what to do. Although he has already bound himself to Chu Yinuo as the object of spending money, in his heart, Chu Yinuo is still a little unfamiliar. After all, Chu Yinuo was his boss's boss and was a legendary figure in the company. You forgot that today is President Zheng's birthday party. Mr. Zheng, who is it? Su-hang was very confused. What Mr. Zheng? He didn't even know him. Was there such a person in the company? It's Mr. Zheng Bin, the manager of Chongbin Group, whom I met in the restaurant last time. Oh, it's him. After Chu Yinuo said this, Su-hang suddenly remembered that there was indeed such a person. Moreover, at that time, he enthusiastically invited Su-hang to attend his birthday party. No, what does his birthday party have to do with me? I've only met him once. Is it necessary for me to attend his birthday party? Su-hang was a little depressed. You know, he had only met this person once. He even went to his birthday party. What kind of thing was that? No, you must go. Chu Yinuo said without question. Mr. Jing just called me and told me that he and I hit it off right away and that he wanted you to attend his birthday party. He is a big customer of our company. You must attend. Upon hearing this, Su-heng felt a little unhappy. Because Chu Yinuo's tone was very firm, it was not a request but an order. Yes, she ordered Su-heng. But after thinking about it, Su-heng agreed. He didn't want to offend Chu Yinuo. Since he didn't have a car, he asked Chu Yinuo to pick him up. More than 20 minutes later, Su-heng saw Chu Yinuo driving a BMW downstairs. Perhaps in order to attend Jing Bin's birthday party, she dressed up carefully. Both her clothes and makeup were very exquisite, making her look like a fairy from the Moon Palace, cool and moving. Especially that pair of long and beautiful legs, so round and smooth, it makes people feel excited just by looking at them. Is this the kind of place you live in? Chu Yinuo looked at the surrounding environment, and a hint of surprise flashed in his eyes. When Su-heng graduated, he lived in a poor village in the city in order to save on rent. Although he had recently made some money through the system, the time was too short and he had not had time to change houses. Chu Yinuo was obviously surprised to see Su-heng living in such a place. After all, in her heart, Su-heng was a hidden rich second generation. He had been undercover in the company for a year in order to pursue her, so his family background should be very strong. Who knew that the place to live would be so shabby? Yes. Su-heng nodded honestly. I can't help it. I gave you all my money. Ding, Chu Yinuo's favorability +2, the current favorability is 20. Obviously, Su-heng's words were very much to Chu Yinuo's liking, and his favorability increased by 2 points at once, reaching 20 points. 20 points of favorability is already a very good impression, which means that Su-heng is no longer an insignificant passerby in her heart. Get in the car. Chu Yinuo didn't dwell on this topic. She shook her hair and sat in the driver's seat. Yinuo, you drove here just to pick up this employee. There was actually a girl in the car. She has delicate features, skin as white as snow, long hair cascading over her shoulders, and every move she makes is full of temptation. Although this girl is very beautiful, she speaks very unpleasantly. Yinuo, we are going to attend Mr. Zheng's birthday party today. What's the big deal about you bringing an employee with you? People will be unhappy. You'd better get this guy out of the car. Ding, target binding. Target name, Lin Yutong. Target value, 7.9 points. Target's favorability towards host, 26. Ding, target binding completed. Xiao Yu, he is not my employee, he is a shareholder of my company, and his shares are 100 million. He also went to attend President Jin's birthday party. Chu Yinuo explained casually. Lin Yutong was dumbfounded. She didn't expect that the person living in such a place would be a shareholder of Chu Yinuo's company. Ding, Lin Yutong's favorability +20. Ding, Lin Yutong's favorability +20. Knowing that she had made a mistake, Lin Yutong felt a little embarrassed, and her favorability quickly turned from negative to positive, but perhaps because she wanted to save face, she did not speak to Su-heng along the way. She didn't say anything. Su-heng didn't know her and didn't know how to respond, so he simply closed his eyes and rested. To be honest, he still hasn't figured out why Mr. Jing specially invited him to the birthday party. However, since he has been invited, he has no choice but to go. But in his heart, Su-heng had already made up his mind that he would just go over to take a look, eat something and come back. Chapter 13 Dance Floor. The place where Jing Bin held his birthday party was a big hotel called Changhong. In order to hold the banquet, Jing Bin booked the entire top floor, which was filled with fine wine and exquisite food. Next to them, there are chefs and waiters on standby, ready to serve the guests at any time. What is even more exaggerated is that there is actually a dance floor in the middle of the venue for people to dance and entertain. Wow, the Jing family is really rich. They hold such a grand banquet. Lin Yutong's eyes were full of stars. Go in, and don't be rude. Chu Yinuo warned Su-heng, then walked into the venue with two people. Jing Bin, who was socializing with others in the venue, saw Chu Yinuo come in. His eyes lit up, and he quickly got rid of the guests next to him and walked over politely. Yinuo, welcome. Jing Bin glanced at Chu Yinuo, who was dressed up carefully, and a hint of heat flashed in the depths of his eyes, but he quickly hid it and returned to his gentle and elegant appearance. Mr. Jing. Chu Yinuo nodded. Hello, Mr. Zheng, I'm Yinuo's best friend, my name is Lin Yutong. Lin Yutong was unwilling to be left behind and took the initiative to extend his hand. Hello. Zheng Bin stretched out his hand with a smile and started socializing with the two people. Su Heng was standing nearby, feeling helpless when seeing this hypocritical response, but he couldn't just leave. Fortunately, as the protagonist of the banquet, Zheng Bin could not stay here for long. After chatting with Chu Yinuo for a few words, he left to deal with other guests. Wow, Yinuo, this Mr. Zheng Bin is so polite, so handsome, and has such a good family background. He is simply the perfect man in my heart. Zheng Bin had just left, and Lin Yutong couldn't help but be crazy about him. Ding, Lin Yutong's favorability 10, current favorability 4. The system prompt sounded, and Su Heng was a little speechless. You can praise Zheng Bin just by praising him, why am I the one who gets hurt in the end? There was no way. Flowers needed green leaves to set them off to look bright. Under Zheng Bin's dazzling light, Su Heng sadly became the green leaf that set off others. Time passed quickly as we drank and chatted. Before we knew it, it was time for the banquet to begin. The venue suddenly darkened, leaving only a beam of light shining on Zheng Bin. I'm glad that everyone can come to my birthday party tonight. I would like to thank everyone for coming and wish everyone's business will get better and better. After saying that, Zheng Bin drank the wine in the glass in one gulp. Good. A group of people echoed loudly. Next, Zheng Bin said a few polite words, which drew applause from everyone. After this part, the lights came on again and the banquet officially began. Couples of men and women invited each other and walked onto the dance floor to dance. Yinuo, can you dance with me? Zheng Bin walked up to Chu Yinuo and extended his hand politely. Chu Yinuo nodded and agreed to Zheng Bin's invitation. The two people slowly walked into the dance floor and started dancing to the music. Under the lights, Zheng Bin was handsome and Chu Yinuo was beautiful. They were a perfect match. Soon, the dance ended and Zheng Bin sent Chu Yinuo back to his original position. Brother Zheng Bin, let's dance together. Lin Yutong couldn't wait to stretch out her hand towards Zheng Bin. No, I have something else to do. Zheng Bin shook his head decisively to refuse, then picked up the wine glass and walked towards Su Heng, who was eating heartily in the corner. Seeing this scene, Lin Yutong's eyes almost spewed flames. It's already cheap for a woman to actively invite a boy to dance, but what's even cheaper is that she was rejected. If Zheng Bin really had something to do, then she would have accepted it. However, Zheng Bin had just rejected her and turned around to look for Su Heng. Ding, Lin Yutong's favorability 10, current favorability 6. Ding, Lin Yutong's favorability 10, current favorability 16. Su Heng, who was eating steak, suddenly opened his eyes wide. What's going on? He didn't do anything, but his favorability dropped inexplicably. You know, from beginning to end, he didn't say a word to Lin Yutong, and they didn't even look into each other's eyes. There's no way. In the eyes of girls, if they don't like you, everything you do is wrong, even if you do nothing, it is still wrong. Boss Su, you are really low-key, eating here alone. Zheng Bin said with a smile. I have never eaten such delicious steak, what does it have to do with being low-key? Su Heng was a little surprised that Zheng Bin came to see him, and asked straight to the point. Mr. Zheng, what can I do for you? Har har, Mr. Su is really a straightforward person. In this case, I won't hide anything. Zheng Bin smiled slightly, with a gleam in his eyes. I know that President Su invested 100 million yuan in Yinuo Company some time ago to help it overcome difficulties, and you also became a shareholder of Yinuo Company. I am very interested in this company and would like Mr. Su to give me this part of the shares. Of course, I won't get something for nothing. 110 million. This is the price I paid for this part of the shares. How about that, isn't it? Zheng Bin gently shook the glass of red wine in his hand, his smile full of determination. 110 million. Su Heng was shamefully tempted. You know, I've been spending money like crazy on girls these days. Although I spent more than 100 million yuan, the rebate I got was sadly less than 200,000 yuan, which is not even enough to pay the down payment for a house. If he had 110 million, he could take off in an instant. But he couldn't do that. Because if he accepted the 110 million, the system would identify him as money laundering, and then. I'm sorry, I won't transfer these shares. Su Heng shook his head without hesitation. Zheng Bin's expression suddenly turned cold. Har har, Mr. Su, you may not know that I am determined to get these shares. Since you are not satisfied with my offer, then you can make an offer as long as it does not exceed my bottom line. I said, I won't give up these shares. Su Heng's heart was bleeding, but he had no choice but to refuse. A cold light flashed in Jing Bin's eyes. Har har, Mr. Su, you'd better not refuse a toast. You may not know the power of my family. You have to give up these shares whether you want to or not. Oh, you're threatening me now, right? Su Heng suddenly became unhappy and sneered. I just won't let you do that. I want to see what you can do to me. Jing Bin gently shook the red wine in the goblet in his hand and sneered. Actually, I know the reason. You like Chu Yinuo, right? I'm not, I didn't, don't talk nonsense. Su Heng suddenly became anxious. You don't have to hide it from me. I know exactly what you think of Chu Yinuo. Speaking of which, you are really infatuated. For Chu Yinuo, you actually went undercover in her company for a year and only showed up recently. But I can tell you, don't even think about it, Yinuo is mine. Chapter 14, A Direct Breakup. You are not worthy of Yinuo, nor do you deserve to be with her. You'd better get out of here. If you give up these shares now, you can still get your money back. If you don't give them up, don't blame me for being rude to you. Zheng Bin immediately turned hostile and threatened Su Heng. You're welcome. Su Heng laughed angrily. I want to see how rude you can be. The smile on Jing Bin's face became warmer, but his eyes were still cold. Don't worry, this is a society ruled by law. I won't do anything illegal. However, in today's society, accidents are very easy to happen. You may be hit by something while walking on the road, or you may be hit by a car while crossing the road. By then, you will have nothing left. Are you threatening me? Su Heng felt a fire rising in his heart. I'm just threatening you, what can you do? Zheng Bin smiled coldly. Hearing this, Su Heng couldn't bear it anymore. People want to kill him. If he continues to endure it, he would not be worthy of being a man. There is no need to endure it anymore. Su Heng raised his hand without saying a word and slapped Jing Bin. Par. With a slight sound, 5 bright red finger marks appeared on Jing Bin's face. He took several steps back and the goblet in his hand fell to the ground. The red wine soaked into the carpet like a pool of blood. Zheng Bin never thought that Su Heng would start a fight over a disagreement. You know, from childhood to adulthood, he has lived in an environment where people are very polite. No matter how they trip each other up in private, they are always harmonious on the surface. As the protagonist of the banquet, Zheng Bin was the focus of the event. The sound of the wine glass breaking immediately attracted the attention of the people around him. Lin Yutong screamed, rushed over first, lifted her skirt and ran to Jing Bin's side. Brother Jing Bin, are you okay? Lin Yutong asked anxiously. I'm fine. Jing Bin touched his cheek, his eyes cold and dangerous, like a wounded beast. From childhood to adulthood, he had never been slapped in public by anyone, not even his parents. This damn guy actually dared to do this. Asshole, hurry up and apologize to President Jin. Lin Yutong turned her head and looked at Su Heng angrily, her eyes full of resentment. Su Heng, what are you doing? Chu Yinuo also ran over, and his heart trembled when he saw this scene. If this matter is not handled properly, it is likely to have a major impact on her company. After all, Su Heng was the one she brought here. What's going on? Chu Yinuo suppressed the anger in his heart and tried to make his voice calm. He asked for it. Su Heng sneered unceremoniously. Asshole, how dare you say that? Lin Yutong cursed. Mr. Jin kindly invited you to his birthday party, but you hit him. You were so rude and disrespectful. Are you still a human being? Ding, Lin Yutong's favorability 20, current favorability 36. Ding, Lin Yutong's favorability 20, current favorability 56. Lin Yutong's favorability towards Su Heng also dropped to the lowest point. Su Heng, apologize to President Jin. Chu Yinuo ordered coldly. Why? Su Heng retorted bluntly. He was very angry and furious. It was clearly Jing Bin who provoked him first, but he actually asked him to apologize. Besides, what right do you, Chu Yinuo, have to order me around? After all, I have spent 100 million on you. I don't ask you to obey me every word, but at least don't act so condescending. Seeing that Su Heng and Chu Yinuo were on the verge of a fight, Jing Bin, who had been furious, calmed down and took the initiative to persuade them. Forget it, Yinuo. Actually, I was discussing business with Su Heng just now, but we didn't reach an agreement, so there was a small conflict. It's just a small matter, no need to worry about it. Ding, Lin Yutong's favorability 10, current favorability 66. After hearing Jing Bin speak well of Su Heng, Lin Yutong became even more disgusted with Su Heng. If we didn't reach an agreement, then we didn't reach an agreement. Why do you beat people up? We need to call the police and have them put this guy in jail. The people present were all Jing Bin's friends or partners of Jing Bin's company. They naturally tended to favor Jing Bin. After listening to his explanation, they all blamed Su Heng. What kind of person is this? He beats people up over a disagreement. He is simply a violent maniac. That's right, how could there be such a person? Fortunately, President Jing is so magnanimous. If it were me, I would definitely call the police and ask them to teach this guy a lesson. After listening to the discussion of the people around her, Chu Yinuo's expression became even gloomier. She walked in front of Su Heng and said word by word, Su Heng, I order you to apologize to President Jing. Why? Su Heng asked back bluntly, why should I listen to you? Ding, Chu Yinuo's favorability 20, currently at 0. Forget it, there's really no need. A hint of pride flashed in Jing Bin's eyes, and he continued to act as a peacemaker. Actually, I'm fine. Let's just forget about it. Brother Jing Bin, you are such a good person, much better than this guy. Lin Yutong muttered dissatisfiedly beside him. We can't let this guy get away with it. We have to call the police. Someone nearby insisted. Did you hear me? Apologize now. Chu Yinuo's tone was still cold. I said, I won't apologize. Su Heng refused without hesitation. Get out if you don't apologize. Yes, get out if you don't apologize. You don't deserve to stay here any longer. Someone shouted angrily, and others followed suit and shouted loudly. Get out! Get out! Get out! Chu Yinuo looked at Su Heng with disgust and said in a deep voice, you heard it, apologize quickly, otherwise, you can't stay here. Do you think I want to stay here? Su Heng smiled coldly and turned away decisively. You should have left a long time ago. How shameless! You hit someone and didn't even apologize. It's just that young Master Zheng has a good temper. If it were me, I would have made this guy kneel down long ago. Shameless guy, it's better to leave early. The people around were still talking, and their eyes were full of contempt when they looked at Su Heng. I'm sorry, Mr. Zheng. I apologize to you on behalf of Su Heng. Chu Yinuo walked to Jing Bin helplessly. This has nothing to do with you. It's that guy who has no manners. Zheng Bin smiled slightly, appearing very graceful. No matter what, Su Heng was at fault in this matter. I should apologize to you. Don't worry, I'll ask him to come back and apologize. After Chu Yinuo finished speaking, he left the venue in a hurry. Outside the hotel, Su Heng tugged at his collar angrily, feeling extremely resentful. It would be fine if a group of people couldn't tell right from wrong, but what made him even more angry was Chu Yinuo's attitude. Su Heng, stop right there. At the hotel entrance, Chu Yinuo hurriedly chased out with a cold face. What's the matter? Su Heng turned around impatiently. Go back and apologize to President Jing. Chu Yinuo's voice became even more impatient. Fuck. Su Heng almost cursed out loud. Why? Why do you, Chu Yinuo, ask me to apologize to him? What qualifications do you have to order me? Why don't you even ask whether this matter is right or wrong? The right and wrong of this matter, who is right or wrong, is not important at all. What is important is that you must apologize to President Jing. Chu Yinuo said in a deep voice. Why? Su Heng laughed in anger. Chapter 15 I can't keep going. A lot of our company's businesses rely on Jing Bin's company to maintain. If we offend Jing Bin, our company will not be able to survive. Chu Yinuo argued. So, we can't offend him. So, even if he is wrong, I still have to apologize to him, right? Su Heng asked back. That's right. Chu Yinuo nodded coldly. Don't think my words are harsh. This is reality. If you want to survive, you have to abide by the rules of society. He. Har ha 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 ha. Su Heng burst into laughter. His laughter was very sarcastic and cold. He had always thought that Chu Yinuo was a domineering female CEO, but who knew that this was just her appearance, and she was actually a mercenary businesswoman. Everyone has many sides. You think a girl is like that, but actually she is like this. What are you laughing at? Chu Yinuo frowned impatiently. I'm warning you, if President Zheng really gets angry, the company won't be able to survive, and you won't be able to keep the 100 million you invested in the company. You should go back and apologize to President Zheng as soon as possible. This way, our company can still be saved. Heh. Su Heng shook his head impatiently. It's impossible for me to apologize. It's impossible in this life. As for the 100 million investment, it doesn't matter. I don't care at all. Bye, I'm going home, you can enjoy yourself here. Even until he went to bed, Su Heng still felt very uncomfortable. He didn't expect that Chu Yinuo would actually ask him to bow his head and apologize to Jing Bin. The cold and aloof female CEO he thought was actually no different from an ordinary woman. When meeting a wealthy second generation, I will bow my head and be timid. As for the fairies in TV dramas who are not afraid of the powerful and only like poor boys, they only exist in the fantasy world. In fact, if you think about it carefully, you will know that if women in real life are really like that, people will not like to watch it. It is because they do not exist in reality that people imagine them existing, so the people who make TV dramas create them into films. Lying on the bed, Su Heng was upset and tossed and turned, unable to fall asleep, so he simply opened the live broadcast software. These days, he was busy reading those emotional techniques and hadn't made any money for several days, nor did he get any rebates. Since I can't sleep, I might as well take the opportunity to enrich my wallet. As soon as I opened the live broadcast software, I found that Zhu Xiaoyi and Xiao Juju's live broadcast rooms were on the homepage, the first two. Hee hee. Su Heng smiled immediately. Isn't he this big data? As long as you click on any live broadcast room, the software will actively recommend this live broadcast room to their homepage. It's not just Douyu, basically all software is like this now. Even many unscrupulous software will ask for various permissions that are not used at all, with the purpose of stealing your information. Never mind, it's boring anyway. Su Heng clicked into Xiao Juju's live broadcast room. As a wealthy man, Su Heng was definitely well connected. He was discovered by others right after he entered. The boss is coming, the super boss is coming. Welcome Hengshen. Welcome Hengshen. Welcome Hengshen. Hengshen, why don't you open the emperor level? After all, you have spent so much money. What a joke, the emperor is for those petty tycoons to show off. What kind of existence is Hengshen, why do they need this? Xiao Zhozhou's eyes lit up when she saw Su Heng coming into the live broadcast room. To be honest, Su Heng gave her a gift worth 10 million yuan at one time a few days ago, and she deserved at least several million yuan in return. The income she earned on that day alone was more than the total amount of gifts she had received before. If she could establish a good relationship with Su Heng and win over this wealthy man, she would probably be able to become a top anchor and the leader of Duyugang soon. Welcome, brother Hengshen. I sent you a private message a few days ago but you didn't reply. I wanted to add you on WeChat. Can you add my WeChat, Hengshen? As expected of Hengshen, we losers want to add the anchor's WeChat but can't, but Hengshen doesn't care at all. This is the real super rich, not comparable to those petty rich people who like to show off. When will I be able to reach this state? I have a solution for you. Go outside and find a crooked tree to hang yourself on. When you reach the underworld, your posture for reincarnation will be better. Maybe it will work after 18 years. Xiao Juju, please send the WeChat again. I have too many private messages in the background and I am too lazy to find them. Su Heng posted a comment. Okay. Xiao Juju didn't care about anything else and quickly sent a private message to Su Heng again. Su Heng clicked to add a friend and was quickly accepted by Xiao Juju. Xiao Juju, can I treat you to a meal? Su Heng came straight to the point with his invitation. Eat, sure. I have a fan meeting every few months in Seoul. Where are you from, brother Hengshen? I'm from Chuancheng. Oh, it's not far actually. It only takes an hour by plane. No, I don't have time. If it was a fan meeting, there would definitely be a lot of people, and Su Heng didn't want to join in the fun. Moreover, there is no way to continue licking the anchor, and it is difficult to improve the favorability. Unless it's a private meeting. Brother Henshin, a successful person like you must be very busy. Can you come and see Juju when you have time? Let's talk about it later. Su Heng closed WeChat out of boredom, exited Xiao Zhozhou's live broadcast room, and clicked into the appearance area. Compared to the League of Legends area, there are so many female anchors in the beauty area, almost all of them are beauties. Even those with average looks can look very good with filters and beauty effects. However, due to system limitations, beauties with appearance scores below 7.5 points cannot be converted into spending objects, so Su Heng needs to figure out by himself whether these girls are real beauties or just Xiao Biluo in disguise. After searching through several live broadcast rooms, Su Heng suddenly remembered a female anchor he had seen before, Fu Chuanzi from the 2D zone. She likes cosplay, dressing up as characters from anime or games, and has participated in several events. She is the kind of girl whose appearance in real life is not much different from that in the live broadcast room. It's her. Su Heng directly clicked into Fu Chuanzi's live broadcast room. Is this the real Henshin boss? Welcome Henshin. Henshin, are you planning to take the #1 spot on Tuanzi in 1 second? Henshin, what do you do? Can I work for you? Henshin, can you lend me some money? I need it to save my life. Seriously. As soon as Su Heng entered Fu Chuanzi's live broadcast room, a lot of barrage comments popped up. The audience may not recognize ordinary rich people, but they still remember the real big rich people. Henshin, welcome, welcome. Fu Chuanzi's eyes lit up and a look of anticipation flashed on his face. She had heard of the reputation of this wealthy man. After entering the live broadcast room, Su Heng didn't waste any time and started clicking on rockets frantically. Rockets rose from the top of the screen, and the gorgeous special effects never stopped from beginning to end. First shot. The 100th round. The 1000th round. The 10,000th. This time Su Heng was very patient and never let go of his fingers on the phone screen. Everyone in the live broadcast room was petrified, as if they were under Medusa's spell. Fu Tuanzi was almost in a state of ecstasy, his head was fuzzy and he almost exploded. How long has this been going on? A game anchor didn't even play the game, he just opened Fu Chuanzi's live broadcast room to see when the rocket would stop. The popularity of Fu Chuanzi's live broadcast room also rose like a rocket to the top of Douyu, reaching an unprecedented 10 billion popularity points. Chapter 16, Continuous Decline. People all like to watch the fun, even on the internet. Seeing someone so rich and inhumane, many viewers flocked into Fu Chuanzi's live broadcast room with curiosity. This further increased the popularity of the live broadcast room. The 9,980th rocket, the 9,981st rocket, the 9,982nd rocket. Henshin, please be a human being. If you have money, you don't use it for charity, but use it to reward anchors. How shameless. Can you please stop being so ridiculous? It is everyone's freedom to spend their money as they wish. The popularity of Xiao Juju's live broadcast room has dropped from more than 800,000 to more than 200,000, and is still declining. It's not just Xiao Zhozhou's live broadcast room. The popularity of many anchors' live broadcast rooms has declined to varying degrees. Because they were all attracted to Fu Chuanzi's live broadcast room. Xiao Juju, I'm sorry, I have to leave. The one upstairs, wait for me. I want to go too. Fu Chuanzi's live broadcast room is so lively. You bunch of beasts, wait for me. Seeing more than a dozen nobles leaving, Xiao Juju felt like crying but had no tears. She suspected that this was done intentionally by the big boss Henshin. You know, just now, she rejected Henshin's invitation to dinner. In fact, she was not that determined. If it was an ordinary noble or a small wealthy man, even if he added her on WeChat, she would definitely refuse without a second thought. But if it is a rich person's invitation, she will most likely agree. After all, the anchors are all promoted by the rich. The reason why I didn't agree just now was mainly because it happened too quickly. Xiao Juju wanted to be reserved so that Henshin wouldn't look down on her and think she was a frivolous woman. After all, people tend not to cherish things that are too easy to get. But who would have thought that Henshin would turn around and go to Fu Chuanzi's live broadcast room and post more than 10,000 super fires, and it hasn't stopped yet. If she hadn't rejected Henshin just now, would these more than 10,000 super hot ones have been hers? With so many gifts, Even if she has to share some of them with the guild and Duyu, she can at least get 10 million. Xiao Juju almost cried. What on earth did I miss? How can a super rich person of this level be the same as an ordinary rich person? If you are little more reserved, she will run away with some other vixen. Seeing that the popularity of the live broadcast room continued to decline, Xiao Juju finally couldn't help it, and quickly picked up the phone and sent a message to Hengshen. Well, Hengshen, I really want to travel to Chuancheng. When I get there, I'll treat you to a meal, okay? Ding dong. Su Heng's phone vibrated, indicating that there was a message on WeChat. Wow, Xiao Juju actually took the initiative to ask me out for dinner? Su Heng smiled slightly and simply stopped. I have used more than 10,000 rockets and received more than 20,000 rebates. My battery is almost gone, so I might as well just stop. There is still a long way to go. Su Heng plugged his phone into the charger and was about to reply to Xiao Juju, but after thinking about it, he stopped. If I send a message to Xiao Juju too quickly, wouldn't it seem like he is very impatient? Leave her alone for a while. Su Heng opened Duyu and started checking private messages. If he guessed correctly, Fuchuanzi should send him the WeChat ID. Sure enough, Fuchuanzi sent him a private message. Thank you Hengshen for your support, please add my WeChat. While checking the private messages, Su Heng also saw a noteworthy private message. It was also sent by a level 120 boss. Hello, Hengshen. I'm the Jade Emperor. Let's be friends. More friends mean more paths. I have a group. The people in it are just like us. They are all emperors of Duyu and elites from all walks of life. We can help each other in the future. This is my WeChat. Seeing this private message, Su Heng clicked add without hesitation. My goodness, he was worried that he didn't know many people. Moreover, the Jade Emperor said it very well, more friends mean more paths. Those who can become the Emperor of Duyu are all rich people. If you have any problems, it will be very convenient to ask them for help. What is connections? This is called connections. Due to the heroism shown by Su Heng, he was soon pulled into the WeChat group by the Jade Emperor. Sure enough, all of them were the emperors of Duyu. In the past, they were enough for Su Heng to look up to. But now. Damn, am I hallucinating? Even Hengshen has been invited here. The Jade Emperor is awesome. It will be so great if I can tell others that I know Hengshen. God Heng, can I ask you what you do? Crab King, don't you understand the rules of the group? Don't ask questions that you shouldn't ask. The Jade Emperor spoke out in warning immediately. I'm sorry, I was wrong. To apologize, I'll send a few red envelopes to Hengshen to apologize. This man called Crab King was quite single and gave out 10 red envelopes in one breath. Su Heng's eyes lit up, and he used the cloud-seeking hand, leaving an afterimage on the phone screen with his fingers, and quickly accepted the red envelopes. Since Crab King said that it was an apology to Hengshen, no one else in the group rushed to grab it. Just this one move, Su Heng had an extra 2,000 yuan in his WeChat account, which was equivalent to a rebate of 1,000 rockets. But it would take at least 10 minutes to brush 1,000 rockets, but it only took less than a minute to grab these red envelopes, which is much more efficient. I'll come too. I'll send a few too. Hengshen is coming in today, so let's celebrate. A group of fish-playing emperors issued red envelopes one after another. Su Heng was so moved that he almost cried. Is this the real rich man? Without saying a word, he began to grab red envelopes frantically. Since these red envelopes were all sent by wealthy people, there were often more than a dozen of them. In total, Su Heng actually grabbed more than 10,000 yuan. Other rich people didn't care too much when they saw that Hengshen only robbed but didn't distribute. People have spent nearly 500 million on Duyu. The reason why they don't post it now is probably because they are too lazy to do so. How could a great god like Heng be a stingy person? How could he be reluctant to give out red envelopes? In Xiao Juju's live broadcast room, she controlled the hero Dark Sovereign to come to the middle lane and confront the opposing Ziggs. Because he was still worried about something, he was particularly inattentive when laning. This hero, who was originally very strong in the middle lane, was suppressed by the opponent for more than 20 knives and was even killed once at level 4. Oh my god, this guy is worse than my grandma. I've died several times. I'm done watching. I'm leaving now. His skills weren't that good to begin with, and he didn't even play well. Har har, I remembered I bought a watch last year. Among the people watching the live broadcast, the majority are trolls. As soon as they see that their host is not playing well, they start to criticize him directly. Even if the administrator bans him, it is useless to do anything about it. Xiao Juju became even more anxious, but the more anxious she was, the easier it was to make mistakes. Not long after, she died again. Fortunately, at this moment, her phone shook and showed that a message had been sent. Okay, when will you come over? After grabbing the red envelopes, Su Heng finally sent a message to Xiao Juju. Xiao Juju breathed a sigh of relief, put down the game without hesitation, and started replying to Su Heng. As for the audience in the live broadcast room, she was too lazy to care about them. All of you losers combined are not as important as Hengshen alone. In a few days, it depends on the situation. I'll let you know as soon as it's confirmed, okay, Hengshen? Shit, even the time isn't set. Su Heng shook his head, losing all interest. I said good night politely and prepared to go to bed. Good night. Looking at the messages on the phone, Xiao Juju almost fainted. What does Hengshen mean by this? Not satisfied. But she really can't always find time. Although the job of an anchor is just to open the computer every day, it actually requires certain technical skills. Moreover, her contract with the guild and Douyuichan stipulates that she must reach a certain live broadcast time limit every month. This month, she really couldn't leave, otherwise she would be in breach of contract. If it was an ordinary rich man, she would definitely not explain, but if it was Hengshen, she had to explain. I'm sorry, brother Hengshen. I know I disappoint you. Chapter 17 Sincerity. But I really can't spare the time this month, or I'll default on my contract. Next month, I'll fly to Chuancheng to find you on the first day of next month, okay? Xiao Juju meant all these words sincerely, but unfortunately Su Heng had already fallen asleep at that time and didn't even read her message. Didn't even read it, let alone reply. Seeing this, Xiao Juju became even more anxious. When she was anxious, she suddenly thought of a good idea. In the past, those rich people who added her on WeChat preferred to look at her photos, and some even wanted to see her photos without makeup. Xiao Juju usually ignores these straight men. But now, in order to regain Hengshen's favor, she had to give something. So, Xiao Juju sent those carefully edited photos to Su Heng. Su Heng slept very soundly that night. When Su Heng woke up the next morning, he took out his mobile phone as usual and found that the WeChat message on his phone was actually 99+. Who sent me so many messages so early in the morning? Su Heng opened WeChat out of curiosity and found that all the messages were from Xiao Juju. When he clicked it again, Su Heng took a breath of cold air. This woman is so horrible that she actually sent him so many photos. There are all kinds of photos, such as cosplay photos, tea-art photos, and sexy photos. It's early in the morning, and Su Heng was already very angry. You sent so many messages at once that he was about to foam at the mouth. Su Heng had already been under a lot of stimulation in the past few days, and now after looking at Xiao Zhouzhou's photos for a while, he almost couldn't help but take out the treasures in his computer. Just when Su Heng was about to make a move, suddenly, a phone call came in, which made him shudder, as if a bucket of cold water was poured on him. Because the person who called him was Chu Yinuo. After what happened yesterday, Su Heng no longer had much feeling towards Chu Yinuo, and instead felt a little disgusted. Maybe it's because Chu Yinuo has become an ordinary woman in his heart. What's up? After thinking about it, Su Heng answered the phone, but his voice sounded a little impatient. Come to the company. Chu Yinuo's voice became even more impatient. I your horse. Su Heng hung up the phone without hesitation. He was now really annoyed to death with this woman Chu Yinuo. It's already this time, and you still have such a condescending tone. Who do you think you are? In the office, Chu Yinuo was very angry when hearing the busy tone on his cell phone. An employee had the audacity to hang up on her. It's been a long time since something like this happened. Ding, Chu Yinuo's favorability increased by 20. The current favorability is 20. The system prompted that Chu Yinuo's favorability had dropped again, but Su Heng didn't care at all. He is just a tool for making money. Even without Chu Yinuo, there are still Tang Yinuo, Wang Yinuo, and Ling Yinuo. It doesn't matter who you spend the money on. If they spend money on the anchor, they will at least say thank you to their boss, but they spend money on Chu Yinuo and get treated like this. Su Heng is not a cheapskate and will not try to please someone who doesn't like him. What do you think, Mr. Chu? Su Heng is still unwilling to apologize. Opposite Chu Yinuo's desk sat a middle-aged man with a big belly, and next to him was Jing Bin. This person is Jing Qiang, the boss of Jiangbin Group, and he is also Jing Bin's father. Jing Bin was beaten yesterday, and the incident has not yet passed. As his father, Jing Qiang came directly to cause trouble for Chu Yinuo. If it were someone else, Chu Yinuo might not care. After all, she is also a well-known figure. But she really didn't dare to neglect Jing Qiang. Because the company she opened was just an ordinary company under the Jiangbin Group, the lifeblood of the company was almost entirely controlled by the Jiangbin Group. If the Jiangbin Group is offended, the company will immediately face a crisis and bankruptcy is a foreseeable outcome. Thinking of that scene, cold sweat broke out on Chu Yinuo's forehead. She had worked hard for so many years to finally achieve this, and she was really unwilling to give up. I'm sorry, Mr. Qiang. Please give me a little more time. I will ask Su Heng to come back and apologize right away. Chu Yinuo promised solemnly. Okay, then I'll give you some time. Jing Qiang nodded indifferently. However, my patience is limited. My son was beaten, and I was very upset. I am upset, and I should be able to foresee the consequences. Mr. Chu, I think. Don't worry, I will give you a satisfactory explanation. Chu Yinuo asked his secretary to send 2 cups of fine black tea to Jing Qiang and his son, then picked up his phone and called Su Heng again. Damn it, are you annoying? Su Heng picked up the phone and saw that it was Chu Yinuo again, so he hung up the call immediately. Not only that, he also blocked Chu Yinuo's phone number. He doesn't want to be a bootlicker anymore, especially the kind that is doted on by women at will. How dare you hang up on me? Chu Yinuo's face was so gloomy that water seemed to drip out of it, and he called Su Heng again. As a result, the mobile app prompted that she had been blocked. Chu Yinuo was so angry that he was almost speechless. However, Chu Yinuo was quite capable to be the president. After thinking about it carefully, she did not continue to make calls blindly, but went out of the office to find Lao Liu, Su Heng's former boss. Boss Chu, what's the matter? As soon as old Liu saw Chu Yinuo, he quickly stood up. Take your phone and call Su Heng. Chu Yinuo said coldly. Okay. Although old Liu didn't quite understand why Chu Yinuo didn't do it himself, under the accumulated power, he didn't think too much and called Su Heng directly. This time, it finally worked. When Su Heng saw that it was Lao Liu, he couldn't hang up the call directly like he did with Chu Yinuo, nor could he block him, so he could only answer the call. Although he guessed that the call might have been made by Chu Yinuo. Chu Yinuo picked up the phone without saying a word and delivered a fatal blow. If you hang up again, I'll fire Lao Liu. Lao Liu, who am I, where am I, what did I do wrong? You dare. After hearing this, Su Heng finally didn't hang up the phone. The company is mine, why wouldn't I dare? Chu Yinuo's gloomy mood became a little happier. She finally caught Su Heng's handle. What's the matter? Su Heng responded impatiently. Come to the company within an hour. If you don't come, don't blame me for firing Lao Liu. After saying that, Chu Yinuo didn't give Su Heng a chance to refuse and hung up the phone directly. Depend on. Su Heng glanced at his phone and couldn't help but curse. However, in order to save Lao Liu, he got up from the bed, put on his clothes and washed up. Lao Liu had been nice to him over the years, and he couldn't just watch Lao Liu get fired like that. In the company, Chu Yinuo returned to the office and gave Jing Qiang a faint smile. Boss Jing, Su Heng will be here soon. He's really arrogant. He made me wait for him for so long. Jing Qiang said sarcastically. Chu Yinuo looked a little unhappy, but still smiled and said, I'm sorry, Su Heng didn't mean it. There is no way, when you are under someone's roof, you have to bow your head. After several years of hard work, Chu Yinuo is no longer the naive and arrogant girl. HMPH. Jing Qiang snorted coldly and didn't say anything more. However, he didn't need to say anything more. Swearing only lowers his demeanor. In fact, he didn't particularly care about Su Heng's apology, he just took this opportunity to make trouble. Chapter 18 Very coveted. The Xifeng company founded by Chu Yinuo is very good. With her hard work, it has great potential. Jing Qiang has always coveted Chu Yinuo's company and wanted to acquire a portion of its shares. However, at that time, Chu Yinuo's company had a very healthy cash flow, and Chu Yinuo was determined not to let others interfere in her company, so the proposal to acquire investment group was not successful. In order to achieve his goal, Jing Qiang deliberately used some tricks to cause Chu Yinuo's CFN company to face financial difficulties. Although Chu Yinuo received an injection of 100 million yuan in funds, under the manipulation of the old fox Jing Qiang, Chu Yinuo only improved the company's situation but failed to completely get rid of the difficulties. Jing Qiang wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to acquire some shares of CFN company and slowly absorb CFN company. Zheng Bin being beaten by Su Heng just gave him a perfect excuse. Of course, an apology cannot be just a verbal apology, it must be accompanied by some practical actions. The shares of CFN company are a very good apology gift. Chu Yinuo may not be unaware of Jing Qiang's goal, but the company's lifeline is in the hands of others, and there are problems with cash flow, so he has to bow his head temporarily. If you bow your head, you can still keep some of your property and have a chance to make a comeback. If the company doesn't bow its head, it will be in danger of falling apart immediately. Choose the lesser of two evils. She can only choose the one that causes less harm. After making preparations, Su Heng took a taxi to the company. As soon as he walked into the company's door, he found that the employees were in a state of disarray, with worry hidden between their brows. Su Heng didn't communicate with them and went directly to Chu Yinuo's office. Chu Yinuo, what on earth is going on with you? After entering, Su Heng questioned immediately. But when he went in, he found that there were actually 5 or 6 people in the office, which was usually very quiet. Chu Yinuo, her best friend Lin Yutong, Jing Bin, and a person who looked similar to him but older. Behind Jing Bin and the others stood 2 sturdy men with broad waists and strong arms. Who are you? Su Heng asked bluntly. Su Heng, you're here really early. Lin Yutong crossed his arms and sneered at the first sight. Do you know that you have caused great harm to Yinuo? Am I talking to you? It's your turn to interrupt. Su Heng retorted bluntly. Anyway, his favorability has become negative, so there is no need for him to be polite to this woman. Ding, Lin Yutong's favorability 4, current favorability 70. Sure enough, after saying this, Lin Yutong's favorability dropped by another 4 points. But Su Heng didn't care at all. Su Heng, could you please stop being so willful? Chu Yinuo frowned. The situation was so critical, but Su Heng was as reckless as ever, which made her exhausted and she felt a little resentful towards Su Heng. How come he is so ignorant of social rules, and so inconsiderate of her? Chu Yinuo was very disappointed with Su Heng. Ding, Chu Yinuo's favorability 10, currently 30. As a result, Chu Yinuo's favorability towards Su Heng also began to decline. But for the sake of the company, she hid her anger and introduced Jing Qiang and his son to Su Heng. Su Heng, this is the chairman of Qiangbin Group and our company's largest partner, Mr. Jing Qiang. The person next to him is manager Jing Bin. You should know him. You even attended his birthday party yesterday. Boss Jing Qiang came here because he wants you to apologize to Jing Bin. You beat him up yesterday. You can't just let it go like this. Chu Yinuo took a deep breath and said helplessly, if you do something wrong, you should apologize. In fact, if it weren't for my persuasion, Boss Jing would have called the police, and you might have to go to jail then. Apologize? Why should I apologize? Su Heng sat on the sofa extremely arrogantly, crossed his legs, and demonstrated with his actions what arrogance was. Jing Qiang, right? Let me tell you, I don't take you seriously at all. You are not even worthy of carrying my shoes. Believe it or not, I can destroy your Qiangbin Group in a minute. After hearing these extremely arrogant words, Lin Yutong, who was already unhappy with Su Heng, sneered. Do you have any brains at all? Can't you see the situation clearly? And let Qiangbin Group be destroyed. Who in the whole Sichuan city dares to say such a thing? Ding, Lin Yutong's favorability 10, current favorability 80. Chu Yinuo also looked at Su Heng with disappointment, as if he was looking at a puddle of mud that could not support a wall. She was extremely disappointed with Su Heng. Ding, Chu Yinuo's favorability 10, currently 40. Ding, Chu Yinuo's favorability 10, currently 50. Jingbin didn't even bother to say anything because he felt that talking to Su Heng would lower his style. On the contrary, the old fox Jing Qiang was filled with doubts and uncertainty. The older you are in the world, the less courageous you become. This Su Hang is at least a shareholder of Chu Yinuo company. He knows what Jiangbin Group means, but he dares to say such things. If you don't know, it can be said that ignorance is fearless, and a newborn calf is not afraid of a tiger. But now that you know it, you are still so arrogant and look fearless. Is this a disguise, or do you really have the confidence? Who is standing behind him? What is his identity and background? Zheng Qiong frowned. Boss Su, I don't know which family you are from. I can visit you some other day. After thinking about it, Zheng Qiong decided to give it a try first. To have gotten to this point, his mind must be very quick. If Su Hang was pretending, he would naturally show this arrogant guy some power later. But if it is true, then we must be careful. In order to avoid hitting a wall, Zheng Qiong finally decided to try it in a roundabout way. You don't deserve to know where I come from. Su Hang spoke even more arrogantly, and was almost about to point at Zheng Qiong's nose and curse at him. This time, even though Zheng Qiong was very cunning, he couldn't bear it anymore. He turned his head away angrily, wishing he could ask the bodyguards to hang Su Hang up and beat him. After all, his Jiangbin Group has some fame in Sichuan City. Even if it is not as good as those first-class families, it is not so bad that it does not even have the qualifications to know the other party's background. As for the others, their eyeballs were about to pop out of their heads. How dare you speak to the Jing family boss like this? You probably don't know how to write the word death. Su Hang, have you had enough of making trouble? Chu Yinuo slapped the desk and stood up. Her patience had reached its limit. Did you know that our company has a cooperative relationship with Jiangbin Group? If you don't apologize, they will cut off all cooperation with our company, and then our company will be finished. Oh, so that's how it is. Su Hang yawned lazily. That's it, why didn't you say so earlier? What? Chu Yinuo was a little surprised and a little surprised. Chapter 19, Hurry. That's it. You don't understand what I'm saying. If you don't apologize, our company will be ruined. Su Hang ignored Chu Yinuo and took out his cell phone and operated a few times on it. I just transferred 1 billion to the company. See if it's enough. Su Hang said very calmly. Poochie. Lin Yutong laughed out loud. 1 billion, why don't you just say 100 billion? This will make you look even more powerful. At this moment, a middle-aged woman ran over breathlessly and said anxiously, Boss Chu, our company's account has just transferred 1 billion yuan of funds. It was transferred from the same account last time, which is Boss Su's account. She is the financial manager of Chu Yinuo's company, and is the person in charge of financial management. In an instant, Lin Yutong's expression became exceptionally exciting, as if a bottle of 5 flavors had been overturned. Chu Yinuo reacted the fastest, because this was not the first time, and with experience, she took out her cell phone to confirm immediately. 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 zeros, and sure enough, it was 10 billion, a real 10 billion. Chu Yinuo was petrified on the spot. I don't believe it. Let me see. Lin Yutong was not giving up. He trotted to Chu Yinuo and also saw the numbers on the account clearly. It really is 1 billion. This person is so terrifying. He said he would transfer 1 billion yuan, and that's it, he really transferred 1 billion yuan, without any exaggeration. What an amazing strength. You know, this is 1 billion in cash. Let alone the Jiangbin Group, even if it was the richest man in Xie country, Jack Ma, it would take some time to come up with 1 billion in cash at once. Because their money is all assets, they have been invested and used to make money. It takes some time to raise working capital. But Su Hang transferred the money so easily. He just operated on his mobile phone and the money was transferred for 1 billion yuan. How much money does he have? How amazing is his financial resources? Lin Yutong was confused. Originally, in her heart, Su Hang, who was extremely disgusting, seemed to be shrouded in a mysterious aura. Although he had a messy mess of hair from just waking up and there was eye boogers in the corners of his eyes, his domineering aura still swept the entire place. Even Jing Bin, whom she thought was very powerful, lost his luster in front of Su Hang's domineering aura. Can Jing Bin come up with 10 billion at once? Lin Yutong asked herself. And the answer is, without a doubt. Ding, Lin Yutong's favorability plus 50, current favorability 30. Ding, Lin Yutong's favorability plus 50, current favorability 20. Ding, Lin Yutong's favorability increased by 50, and the current favorability is 70. Lin Yutong's favorability towards Su Heng soared like a rocket, reaching 70 points in just a few seconds. This woman is really realistic. Su Heng was a little surprised and even a little contentious. He had never seen such a materialistic woman before. However, there is one advantage of being a materialistic woman, which is that it is easy to increase her favorability as long as the money is spent appropriately. Looking at this scene, the old fox Jing Qiang was still a little skeptical. This couldn't be a well-acted play. The purpose is to make him give up the idea of dealing with Chu Yinuo's company. He wasn't going to be fooled that easily. So, Jing Qiang took out his mobile phone very low-key and sent out some messages. He had long ago planted a spy inside Chu Yinuo company to report the situation of Chu Yinuo company to him. It just so happens that he can use this traitor to confirm whether Chu Yinuo's company really received the 1 billion yuan. Soon, he received an answer, confirming the authenticity of the news. This Su Heng actually transferred 1 billion yuan to Chu Yinuo's company account. Jing Qiang took a breath of cold air. Sorry, Su Heng, it was me who was Meng Lang just now. Jing Qiang stood up very politely and expressed his slight apology to Su Heng. Dad, why should we apologize? He was the one who hit me first. Seeing this scene, Jing Bin immediately felt unhappy. It was clearly him who was beaten, so why should he be the first to admit defeat? Jing Bin knew the horror of 1 billion yuan, but he just couldn't swallow it. Par. Jing Qiang slapped Jing Bin without hesitation. Little bastard, is it your turn to speak here? Jing Qiang cursed loudly. Hurry up and apologize to President Su. Under Jing Qiang's murderous gaze, Jing Bin could only walk up to Su Heng and bow helplessly. I'm sorry, Mr. Su. Even though he seems very successful outside, at home he is just a child and has no right to make decisions. More importantly, all the Jing family's property is in the hands of Jing Qiang. Jing Bin has 2 younger brothers. If he doesn't behave well, he will have no share of the inheritance in the future. Well, just be more careful next time. Su Heng nodded casually. Seeing this scene, Lin Yutong admired Su Heng even more. This is the real boss. He looks ordinary, like a loser at ordinary times, but at the critical moment, just by showing his strength a little bit, those seemingly awesome rich young masters will instantly become timid. This is the real male god in her mind. Ding, Lin Yutong's favorability increased by 10, and the current favorability is 80. Before he knew it, Lin Yutong's favorability had reached 80 points, only 10 points away from the 90 points required to receive rewards. It has to be said that her favorability increased the fastest among all of Su Heng's spending targets. It increased so much in just a few minutes. This woman is really... Su Heng didn't know how to describe her. On the one hand, he felt that this kind of gold digger was hateful and disgusting, which was influenced by Shen Yu. On the other hand, the fact that favorability increases so easily means that it is easy to get rewards. Sorry to bother you, Mr. Su Heng. This is my WeChat. If it is convenient, please add me. Jing Qiang took out WeChat very calmly. After thinking about it, Su Heng added Jing Qiang on WeChat. It is better to resolve a feud than to create one. There is no need to really offend the other party to death. Seeing that Su Heng had added him on WeChat, Jing Qiang's attitude improved a little. After saying a few more words, he left the office with his bodyguard and Jing Bin. After Jing Qiang left, Chu Yinuo came over with some trepidation and asked hesitantly. Su Heng, why did you give me 1 billion? Su Heng turned around and found that Chu Yinuo had a complicated expression. A little expectation, a little fear, a little surprise. In addition to this, there are many other emotions that Su Heng can't quite tell. But he knew that this issue was crucial. 1 billion was betted all at once, which must have scared Chu Yinuo. A transfer of 100 million was still within her acceptable range and she could barely afford it. She even had a little affection for Su Heng. But if she wants to transfer 100 million, it will be beyond her ability to bear. Chapter 20, Blind. You know, the valuation of her company is less than 300 million yuan. This is just the valuation, and it is actually even lower. With so much money, you can do other things and start a new business. Using the money to invest in a company that does not belong to you is simply adding fuel to the fire. Chu Yinuo was very nervous, surprised, and instinctively a little sensitive. Su Heng understood that the following explanation was crucial. If he could satisfy Chu Yinuo, his favorability would surely soar. If he was lucky, he might even be able to counterattack and receive the reward. But if the answer is not good, the probability of counterattacking Chu Yinuo will be very low. If this had happened in the past, he would have definitely been at a loss, but fortunately, he had read a lot of articles on emotions some time ago and had some confidence. The reason is simple. I want to pursue you. Su Heng looked at Chu Yinuo very calmly. Chu Yinuo blushed. Her heart felt like a bottle of 5 flavors had been overturned, with all kinds of feelings surging up. At the same time, a sweet feeling rises from her heart. Ding, Chu Yinuo's favorability increased by 40, and the current favorability is 10. Ding, Chu Yinuo's favorability plus 40, the current favorability is 30. Ding, Chu Yinuo's favorability increased by 40, and the current favorability is 70. In just a few seconds, Chu Yinuo's favorability increased to 70 points. It's rising so fast. Su Heng was a little surprised. He knew that Chu Yinuo's favorability would definitely increase, but he didn't expect it to increase so much all of a sudden. Women are like this. If a loser likes her and does things for her, she will think it is sexual harassment and find it disgusting. But if a tall, rich and handsome man like Su Heng liked her, she would feel very romantic and happy. In fact, Su Heng guessed correctly. That's what Chu Yinuo thought. She once again thought about how Su Heng had stayed in her company for 3 years in order to pursue her. He had always been silently paying attention to her until the company encountered difficulties, and then he stepped forward to help her. This is like a plot in a TV drama, romantic and beautiful. Moreover, Su Heng is not as flamboyant as Jing Bin. Although he has the ability, he has always been very low-key. The key is that he has always stayed by her side, and when difficulties arose, he stood up like a knight, helped her and solved the problems for her. Chu Yinuo had no reason to reject a suitor who possessed so many excellent qualities: rich, steady, loyal, and handsome. Ding, Chu Yinuo's favorability plus 10, currently 80. Thinking of this, Chu Yinuo's favorability actually increased by another 10 points. Not only that. Ding, Lin Yutong's favorability increased by plus 5, and the current favorability is 85. Lin Yutong's favorability actually increased by 5 points, reaching 85 points. However, from beginning to end, he never spent a penny on Lin Yutong, and even comforted her several times. Men all like outstanding women, and similarly, women all like outstanding men. Su Heng is so outstanding, it is natural for Lin Yutong to like him, even if Su Heng didn't spend money on her. She was even a little jealous of Chu Yinuo, jealous that Chu Yinuo had such a perfect suitor. Why, the person Su Heng likes is not her. Lin Yutong felt very sorry. Thank you, Su Heng. Chu Yinuo felt a little embarrassed and said with difficulty. Thank you for your help. But my company is not worth $1 billion. It's too much money. You should take it back. Do you think I don't want to? The system will judge this as money laundering, okay? Su Heng felt a little helpless. 1/1000 of 1 billion is 1 million, which means that if he transfers 1 billion to Chu Yinuo, he will receive a rebate of 1 million. This amount of money is enough to buy an apartment. But compared to $1 billion, it's nothing. But Su Heng can't accept it. The loopholes in the system are not so easy to exploit. But he couldn't just refuse. Because Chu Yinuo is a principled person, she would definitely not accept it if it was given to her directly, so she had to find a reason, a perfect reason. Come with me for a moment. Su Heng took Chu Yinuo's hand. Her hands are white, tender and smooth, and feel as nice as fine silk. For some reason, Su Heng took Chu Yinuo's hand and didn't want to let it go. Chu Yinuo didn't refuse, but her cheeks were a little red. Su Heng pulled Chu Yinuo outside the office, to an empty corner. What does he want to do? He doesn't want to. At this moment, many inappropriate thoughts for children popped up in Chu Yinuo's mind. Isn't this too direct? Should I refuse? Chu Yinuo couldn't help but start to think wildly. 80 points of favorability is not low, and many couples cannot reach such a favorability. If Su Heng asks to do some love exercises, Chu Yinuo will not refuse. But that was not his purpose. Yinuo, do you know who I am? Su Heng asked with a serious expression. Chu Yinuo hesitated and shook his head. To be honest, Chu Yinuo didn't know who Su Heng was. She had always thought that Su-heng was an ordinary worker. However, as Su-heng transferred large amounts of cash to her twice, it was obvious that Su-heng's identity was not ordinary. "I'll tell you the truth. Actually, I'm the heir of a hidden family," Su-heng said in a deep voice. "R." Chu Yinuo opened his eyes wide, a little surprised, but also felt it was natural. Sure enough, the person who could take out so much cash at once was definitely not an ordinary person. He turned out to be the heir of a hidden family. So that's how it is. No wonder you can come up with so much money. Chu Yinuo suddenly realized. I really envy you for being born with such good conditions. No. Su-heng shook his head. Actually, I'm not as good as you think. There are many limitations in my life. For example, I can't marry someone I like. You know, as a young master of a wealthy family, I can't marry an ordinary person. I must find someone with a family background equal to mine as my wife. Chu Yinuo nodded in agreement. This makes sense. How could a real rich second generation possibly find a Cinderella as his wife? If I were to look for someone, I would definitely look for someone with a similar family background. So you know why I have to transfer money to you twice? Su-heng looked at Chu Yinuo very seriously. Could it be that he meant? Chu Yinuo has been able to work hard to build up his current wealth. He is also a smart man with a very quick mind. Yes, that's right, because I want you to have your own career. You know, I can't marry an ordinary girl. At the very least, she has to have her own career. I transferred the money to you because I wanted to help you. Su-heng tried hard to deceive. Now, all the problems are solved. He had thought about how to explain the behavior and motivation of spending money before, and now, he finally found a perfect reason. So, that's how it is. Chu Yinuo's eyes suddenly sparkled, and he was so moved that he almost cried. Chapter 21 Silent Dedication. In an instant, the image of Su-heng in her mind turned into a reclusive wealthy young man who had been guarding and silently giving for his fiancée. No wonder he has always kept a low profile. It turns out it's because he is the heir to a hidden wealthy family. No wonder he spent money like crazy, it was because Su-heng wanted her to have her own career. Don't think that what Su-heng said is simple. But how could there be no conflicts among such a powerful and hidden family? The heir must have gone through a lot if he wants to inherit the family property. Even so, for the girl he liked, he still gave silently, kept himself hidden, and kept helping the girl, hoping that she could become a perfect partner. What a deep affection this is. Compared with Su-heng, the other suitors are simply weak. Chu Yinuo even kept wondering whether he was able to build up his current wealth because of Su-heng's secret help. Even the plot of the novel began to appear in her mind. Master, someone is plotting against the young mistress. Warn him, remember, don't let her find out. Yes. Thinking of this, Chu Yinuo's favorability towards Su-heng instantly soared. Ding, Chu Yinuo's favorability +3, current favorability is 83. Ding, Chu Yinuo's favorability +3, current favorability is 86. Ding, Chu Yinuo's favorability +3, current favorability is 89. All of a sudden, Chu Yinuo's favorability increased by 89 points, just a little short of the 90 points required to receive the reward. Su-heng, don't worry. Chu Yinuo took the initiative to grab Su-heng's hand. I will definitely work hard and strive to have my own career so that I can be worthy of you. When saying this, Chu Yinuo's eyes were extremely firm, like a brave warrior. Phew, I finally fooled you. Su-heng breathed a sigh of relief. Women are like this, they believe whatever the rich and handsome men say. As for the Jiaoxi, they would not listen to this group of people at all. In their eyes, Jiaoxi are not even human beings. Thank you, don't worry, I will help you. Su-heng took the opportunity to grab Chu Yinuo's hand. It will definitely cost money to develop your business, and you might even incur losses, which will give you more opportunities to spend money. To be honest, Su-heng feels that it is better to spend money on girls faster and get more rebates this way. It would be too much trouble to just give tips to the female anchor, and giving too much money would easily attract investigation from others. But this money is still too much. How about this? You own 80% of the company's shares and I only need 20%. Chu Yinuo said seriously. No. Su-heng shook his head decisively. If this happens, my family will find out. The shares must be in your hands, and you can't have anything to do with me. Aren't you afraid that I will run away with the money? Chu Yinuo was moved again. I believe you, Su Heng said affectionately. Well, don't worry, I will succeed. Chu Yinuo was obviously very moved and nodded repeatedly. Unfortunately, her favorability did not continue to grow and remained at 89 points, always just a little short of 90 points. Su Heng felt a little regretful, but no matter what, it was already quite good to be able to raise Chu Yinuo's favorability to 89 points. Moreover, Chu Yinuo would not give him shares, so that it would not be judged as money laundering by the system. After finishing all this, Su Heng and Chu Yinuo returned to the office. Lin Yutong was still sitting on the sofa in the office drinking black tea, but this time her gaze towards Su Heng had become very gentle, even a little admiring. Yinuo, I have something else to do, so I'll leave first. Su Heng had no intention of staying in the company any longer and was ready to leave. Yeah. Chu Yinuo nodded without any surprise. As the heir to a hidden wealthy family, Su Heng must have countless things to do every day, so it is normal for him to be busy. But in fact, Su Heng stayed in the rental house and did nothing. He just played games and gave gifts to the female anchor every day. Wait. Just when Su Heng was about to leave the office, Lin Yutong suddenly trotted over. I'm sorry. I apologize for my rude attitude towards you. It's okay. Actually, I don't care at all. Su Heng shook his head. Sure enough, this is a tolerant man. Ding, Lin Yutong's favorability +1, current favorability 86. Lin Yutong smiled slightly and took out his cell phone. Let's add each other on WeChat. We may need to contact each other in the future. Su Heng hesitated for a moment and looked at Chu Yinuo. To be honest, he really wanted to add Lin Yutong on WeChat. After all, this was also someone he could spend money on. But Lin Yutong is Chu Yinuo's best friend after all. There is a saying that goes, beware of fire, theft and best friends. This sentence fully illustrates the fake friendship between girls. If he were in another place, Su Heng would definitely add Lin Yutong's WeChat without hesitation. After all, it doesn't matter who you lick. Lin Yutong's favorability is so high now, maybe she'll be able to receive the reward someday. However, when Lin Yutong suggested adding WeChat, Chu Yinuo was right next to her. What would Chu Yinuo think after adding WeChat? Even though they are best friends and appear to be very affectionate, no one knows what they are really like. After hesitating for a moment, Su Heng had no choice but to shake his head. Sorry, I didn't bring my phone. After saying that, Su Heng just left. Chu Yinuo felt very comfortable when he saw this scene. Don't be fooled by the fact that girls have a good relationship on the surface. They can go to the bathroom together, go shopping together, and eat together. But in fact, that is all fake friendship. There can be 7 WeChat groups in a girl's dormitory of 8 people. Lin Yutong was a little disappointed that she didn't add Su Heng on WeChat. But at the same time, she felt that this was a truly loyal and good man. Dedicated and loyal, unlike those scumbags and Aquaman on the internet who eat from the bowl and keep their eyes on the pot. It is natural for such an outstanding man to have a little temper, and it is also natural for him not to add WeChat. If she wants to chase someone, she will chase this kind of perfect man. As for those losers who are not wanted by anyone, she won't even look at them. Ding, Lin Yutong's favorability +1, current favorability 87. Are you sick? Su Heng had just come out of the company and felt confused when he heard the system prompt. This Lin Yutong must be a psychopath. He did nothing yesterday, and Lin Yutong's favorability rating kept dropping. I didn't do anything today and didn't even add you on WeChat. It's fine if you're not angry, but your favorability towards me is actually increasing. Are you a hermaphrodite? I can only say that for rich men, everything they do is right, even if it's some weird poses, they are unique and are what girls like. Feeling confused, Su Heng went all the way back to the rental house and met the landlord at the door. Chapter 22. It's been delayed for a month. Xiaojiang, isn't it time for you to pay the rent? You've been delaying it for a month. The 50-year-old landlady came over with a somewhat unhappy look. Some time ago, in order to buy a bag for Xinyu, Su Heng not only borrowed Huabei and Jiabei, but he even didn't have time to pay the rent. Fortunately, the landlord was a nice person and agreed to let him delay the payment for 1 month. Now 1 month has passed, and the landlord came to the door. I'm sorry, Aunt Zhang. I was so busy these days that I forgot about it. I'll transfer the money to you now. Su Heng quickly took out his mobile phone and transferred 2 months' rent. That's good enough. Don't default on the rent next time. The landlady then left satisfied. Aunt Zhang, please walk slowly. Su Heng waved goodbye from behind. After seeing off the landlady, Su Heng returned to the rental house, lay on the bed, and picked up his cell phone. He had already made up his mind while on the road that after he came back, he would continue to spend money on the female anchor and get some rebates. But the landlord came and reminded him. He now has a savings of nearly 1 million yuan, which is enough to buy an apartment. Otherwise, he might as well just buy a house. It's not a good idea to always live in a rented house. Once this thought came to my mind, I couldn't stop it. What do contemporary young people desire most? Isn't it to buy a house? Now that they have money, how can they not buy a house? After thinking about it, Su Heng directly opened WeChat and joined the Emperor group. There are bigwigs from all walks of life here, well informed. Maybe there are some from the real estate industry who can provide him with a good house. Who has a good house for sale in Sichuan? Su Heng sent a message directly to the Emperor's group. Within a few seconds, an emperor named Feng Werlianqian at Ed Su Heng. God Heng, I just happen to have a villa for sale in Chuancheng, would you like to take a look? Okay, let's chat privately. Soon, this group member named Feng Werlianqian added Su Heng as a friend. God Heng, this is a photo of my villa, take a look. The group members were very straightforward and immediately sent more than a dozen photos of the villa and several short videos as soon as they added me as a friend. Shen Heng, I bought this villa 3 years ago. It's a lake view villa in Weilan Garden. It's 860 square meters, a 3-story standalone villa with a parking space, a small garden and an outdoor swimming pool. As for the price, I'll give you a friendly price of 40 million. Sorry to bother you. Su Heng refused immediately. He has finally saved up 1 million, and you want to sell your house for 40 million at will. Do you think my money comes from the wind? Although the location and scenery are very good and indeed worth the price, the key is that Su Heng does not have that much money. You know, 40 million times 1,000 is 40 billion. He has to spend 40 billion on girls to have that much money. But think about it. Su Heng thought it was worth buying. Although he himself cannot afford it, he can buy it for someone who can afford it. As long as you can live in it, why do you have to have ownership? Thinking about it this way, Su Heng felt that this house was too cheap. The rebate was only 40,000 yuan, which was really a bit too little. Okay, no problem. Feng Huang, please set a time and I'll take people to see the house then. Su Heng sent a message very readily. As expected of Hengshen, buying things is so refreshing. Also, my real name is Xu Feng, God Heng, you can just call me Xiaoshu. It just so happens that I'm in Sichuan City right now. It's better to do it today than to wait for a better day. I think we'll do it tomorrow. At 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, I'll be waiting for you at the villa. After agreeing on a time with Xu Feng, Su Heng began to think again, who should he give the villa to? Chu Yinuo? No, I have already given this woman 1 billion yuan. Buying her a villa won't make much difference, and she already has a house. Lin Yutong, there is no contact information at all. Sink the fish and kill it directly. After much thought, Song Lily is the only suitable person. Some time ago, Su Heng saw her post a circle of friends, saying that she came to the city from the countryside alone and was very lonely. She felt like a rootless fallen leaf, lonely and adrift, with no sense of belonging. The main reason for not having a sense of belonging is that there is no house. If I had a house in Sichuan City, I would probably have a sense of belonging. Moreover, Song Lily's favorability has reached 89 points. She is only a little short of receiving the reward, so it is a good time to strike while the iron is hot. Thinking of this, Su Heng immediately called Song Lily. Su Heng, you finally called me. Song Lily's voice was filled with surprise. Are you free tomorrow? Yes. Are you going to ask me out? That's right. We'll meet at South City Square at 7:30 tomorrow morning. The South City Square that Su Heng mentioned is right next to the rental house, and he can go there as soon as he gets up tomorrow morning. After making an agreement with Song Lily, Su Heng hung up the phone. That night, Su Heng went to bed late and did not get up until 8 o'clock the next morning. It wasn't until the phone rang that Su Heng opened his eyes blearily. Hello, who is this? I'm Song Lily. Didn't you say we'd meet at the square at 7:30? Why haven't you come yet at 8? There was suppressed anger in Song Lily's voice. This is because her favorability level is as high as 89 points, so she can wait for half an hour. If it were any other girl, she would have turned away with a displeased look. I'm sorry, I slept late last night. I'll be there soon. I'll be there soon. When Soo-hang looked at the time, he quickly jumped out of bed. There was no way, the game was so fun that he accidentally went to bed late. Soo-hang put on his clothes quickly, only to find another message on WeChat. God-hang, why haven't you arrived yet at 8 o'clock? Did something happen on the way? Shu-feng waited in the villa until 8 o'clock, but didn't see Soo-hang coming. He couldn't stand it anymore and quickly made a phone call. I'm sorry, Mr. Shu. I slept late. I'll be there soon. A taxi is very fast. It will only take half an hour at most. Take a taxi. Shu-feng asked 3 question marks in a row, obviously very confused. The great God-hang, who has given nearly half 100 million in rewards on Duyu, actually needs to take a taxi. Oops. Only then did Soo-hang realize that he had revealed a flaw. But he thought quickly and came up with a remedy quickly. My driver has asked for leave, and I usually don't drive. I see. Shu-feng suddenly realized. No wonder Heng-shen had to take a taxi. It turned out that the driver had asked for leave. As for the fact that Heng-shen didn't have a car at all, he would never believe it. Are you kidding? Heng-shen gave the anchor nearly $500 million in tips, how could he not have a car? In that case, why don't I send a car to pick you up? Shu-feng sent a message very enthusiastically. Soo-hang agreed without hesitation. Who wouldn't want to take a free car? It took Soo-hang a quarter of an hour to finish washing and dressing, and then he ran all the way to the square where he had an appointment with Song Lily. At this time, Song Lily was already extremely impatient. Chapter 23, Envy. For girls nowadays, it is already good enough if they don't delay. But she arrived early and was still stood up. You can imagine how bad her mood was. Xiaojia, are you waiting for someone? Just at this moment, a BMW 7 Series drove in front of Song Lily and stopped. In the BMW, a young man in a high-end suit got out of the car and walked in front of Song Lily. Wow, it's a BMW 7 Series. It seems to be more than 1.5 million. This young man is really rich. I wonder which company he belongs to. The onlookers all showed envy. Hearing this, Zhu Zhigang smiled slightly, revealing a confident look. His family's assets are worth over 100 million yuan, and he is an absolute second-generation rich man. He became the general manager of the family business right after graduating from school. He is a tall, rich and handsome man. Mr. Zhu. Song Lily's expression also became much more serious. She is a nightclub person, and she often goes there to hang out with those rich second-generation guys, and goes to sleep when they are done talking. Zhu Zhigang is a top rich second generation. Song Lily once slept with Zhu Xiao, and the two are still in contact. Zhu Zhigang bought her several bags, spending 70,000 to 80,000 yuan, and was very generous. Xiaojia, why haven't I seen you in the past few days? Zhu Zhigang walked up to Song Lily and got so close that he could hear her breathing. To be honest, Zhu Zhigang has played with many women. Song Lily is considered to be relatively good-looking and very open-minded in that aspect. After not seeing each other for several days, Zhu Zhigang was a little angry and suddenly wanted to have a relationship with Song Lily that went beyond friendship. Mr. Zhu, I have something to do these days. Song Lily took a step back embarrassedly. So that's how it is. Zhu Zhigang suddenly realized. Then you are free today, come, get in the car, I will take you to talk about life. I'm sorry, Mr. Zhu, I have an appointment. Song Lily took another step back. Have you made an appointment? Zhu Zhigang smiled slightly. Can't you just turn it down? By the way, didn't you say in your circle of friends a while ago that you liked the new Hermes bags? Come on, I'll take you to buy them. Zhu Zhigang said very confidently. He knew Song Lily very well and knew that she was a typical gold digger who could be bought with money alone. I'm sorry, Mr. Zhu, I already have this bag, and the person I'm meeting today is the one who will buy me the bag. Song Lily took out the Hermes bag she was carrying and waved it in front of Zhu Zhigang. Zhu Zhigang's face changed. As far as he knew, this Hermes bag cost about 10 yuan. Which rich second generation was so generous to buy it directly? Isn't this driving up the price to 13 yuan? You know, the richer the second generation are, the more shrewd they are. It is harder than climbing to the sky to take advantage of them. It's enough to spend about 10,000 or 20,000 yuan to sleep with a woman. If you spend more, it will be meaningless. As a result, I don't know which idiot bought such expensive things for women all of a sudden, which made these women become spoiled. Zhu Zhigang felt a little unhappy and depressed. He knew that if he wanted to get Song Lily into bed, a limited edition Hermes bag alone would probably not be enough, and he would have to offer more. Unfortunately, he has not yet taken charge of the family business. Spending hundreds of thousands of dollars just to sleep with a nightclub girl is really a bit too much. He can't possibly spend so much money. Thinking of this, Zhu Zhigang had to shake his head and said unwillingly, "Okay, see you next time." Who knew that before he dared to say this, Su Heng would quickly come over on a shared bike. "I'm sorry, Song Lily. I'm backing off." Su Heng quickly apologized. It's indeed a bit bad to let a girl wait for him for so long. As he had come in a hurry, Su Heng looked a little disheveled, with messy hair and ill-matched clothes. He looked like a loser. "Song Lily, is he the person you are waiting for?" Zhu Zhigang immediately stopped and refused to move forward. If the person Song Lily was waiting for looked like this, then there was no need for him to leave. As for this kind of loser, he, who was born into a noble family, simply beat her in all aspects. He was saying, how could a rich second generation buy such an expensive bag for Song Lily? It turned out that it was given by a loser. The favorite thing for this bunch of incompetent losers to do is to flatter girls and drive up the prices. Many ordinary girls are praised to the sky by this group of losers. The funniest thing is, because this group of losers have praised the girls, this group of girls now look down on this group of losers and are taken advantage of by the rich second generation. Obviously, the guy who was dating Song Lily was such a loser. "Why are you dressed like this?" Song Lily said with some complaint. "Ding, Song Lily's favorability 1, current favorability 88. What's wrong with me?" Su Heng looked himself up and down and found that he was indeed a little sloppy. His hair was messy, his clothes were not properly dressed, and he looked really lousy. The main reason was that he got up too late and was afraid that Song Lily would be waiting anxiously, so he didn't have time to dress himself properly. Ding, Song Lily's favorability 1, current favorability 87. Song Lily didn't say anything, but she was very disappointed. Girls all want to save face. It was really disgusting to see Zhu Zhigang so outstanding and dressed so handsomely, while Su Heng, who had been waiting for so long, looked like a loser. At this time, Song Lily had already forgotten about the fact that Su Heng had spent more than 1 million yuan on her. She even selectively forgot the fact that Zhu Zhigang had always been just playing around with her and that the money he spent on her was less than 1/10 of what Su Heng spent. Nothing. Song Lily did not show her unhappiness and asked directly, "Where are we going next?" "Go to the Blue Home." Su Heng said directly. "The Blue Home is quite far away. It will take at least an hour by bike. You should take my car." Zhu Zhigang, who was standing next to him, took the opportunity to speak up. "Who are you?" Su Heng asked somewhat unhappily. "My name is Zhu Zhigang, and I'm Song Lily's friend." Zhu Zhigang smiled slightly and deliberately put emphasis on the word friend, appearing very ambiguous. "So you are Song Lily's friend. Thank you for your kindness, but it's not necessary." Su Heng shook his head and replied, "My friend, the Blue Home is very far away. It takes a long time to ride a bicycle, but it is much faster to drive." Zhu Zhigang persuaded earnestly. "It's fine if you ride a bike, but how can you bear to let such a beautiful girl ride a bike with you? The quality of shared bikes is poor. What if something goes wrong? If you don't consider yourself, you should also consider Song Lily." Ding, Song Lily's favorability 5, current favorability 83. Song Lily found this to be very reasonable. Chapter 20 for mockery. Moreover, Zhu Zhigang's words and actions were all from her perspective, which made people feel comfortable listening to him. In comparison, Su Heng not only looks like a loser, but also acts like a loser. He is really lame. For such an important date, just ride a shared bike. He looked so shabby and loser, which made her lose all her face. "Thank you for your kindness, but it's really not necessary. I have a car and will be here soon." Su Heng replied indifferently. "Where is the car?" Zhu Zhigang's smile deepened. Shared bicycles and shared electric vehicles are not like calling a taxi. This is what I call a car. Zhu Zhigang patted the roof of the BMW demonstratively, with a hint of mockery in his eyes. If you don't have a car, then you don't have a car, but you insist on saying you have a car to save face. Girls hate boys who brag like this the most. A loser is a loser, there is no challenge at all. Originally, Zhu Zhigang just wanted to make a date with Song Lily, but he didn't expect to be so lucky today. He got a great assist and could show off at the same time. He won't have to buy anything for Song Lily later, he can just take this woman to bed. Ding, Song Lily's favorability 10, current favorability 73. There was a hint of disappointment in Song Lily's eyes, and she even began to wonder if she was too impulsive. If you think about it carefully, Su Heng is actually a very average person, far worse than Zhu Zhigang, and he was even dumped by Shen Yu. If she picks it up, she will become the one who takes the blame. If I tell anyone about this, my sisters will laugh at me. Song Lily, your attitude changed too quickly. Su Heng couldn't help but complain in his heart, brother has spent more than 1 million on you, how could you change your mind so quickly? Alas, it was a wrong payment after all. Originally, Su Heng had some good feelings towards Song Lily, but after this, he no longer had any good feelings towards her. Whatever, he is just a tool to get rebates, there is no need to spend too much thought on it. Ding, Hengshen, I'm Mr. Shu's driver. I'm already at the square. Where are you? Just at this moment, the driver sent a message, and Su Heng quickly lowered his head to reply to him. Seeing Su Heng lowering his head to play with his mobile phone, Zhu Zhigang's smile deepened. Shared electric bikes are very uncomfortable to ride in. Let's take my bike. Song Lily, come on, get in. Zhu Zhigang reached out and grabbed Song Lily's hand. Song Lily hesitated for a moment but did not refuse. Ding, Song Lily's favorability 10. Let's go, get in the car. Zhu Zhigang simply ignored Su Heng and pulled Song Lily's hand to get into the car. Wait. Su Heng said calmly with his expression still indifferent. My car is here too. Should I let Song Lily get in my car? Where is your car? I can't see it. Zhu Zhigang pretended to look around. At this moment, a Pagani Huayra worth 30 million stopped next to Su Heng. A handsome driver got out of the car, wearing sunglasses, and walked up to Su Heng very respectfully. Master, please get in the car. Zhu Zhigang was stunned for a moment. Song Lily was also confused. What's going on? This luxury car worth 30 million was actually here to pick up Su Heng. And the driver called him master. Zhu Zhigang thought about how he had acted in front of Su Heng before and felt so ashamed that he wished he could find a hole in the ground to crawl into. Compared with this Pagani Huayra, his BMW becomes a smaller brother and he is too embarrassed to show his face to others. No wonder he gave Song Lily a bag worth 100,000 yuan all of a sudden. It turned out that he was a real boss, the kind who treated money as if it were nothing. Song Lily was also extremely shocked. Su Heng actually has such a nice car? It was the first time she knew about it. But when she thought back to the way Su Heng had spent money on her before, Song Lily felt it was natural. Only truly rich people would spend money so lavishly, and owning a luxury car is a matter of course. Riding a shared bicycle is probably to keep a low profile, but it also shows that Su Heng is a down-to-earth person. In comparison, Zhu Zhigang is very inferior. He has the nerve to show off a car worth more than 1 million yuan. It is simply a case of showing off one's skills in front of an expert. This is a truly outstanding man. He is rich but not ostentatious. He is low-key and has substance. Ding, Song Lily's favorability increased by plus 16, and the current favorability is 89. Damn, a Pagani Huayra has raised your favorability. Really? Su Heng was speechless. Although he was speechless, Su Heng still held Song Lily's hand and calmly got into the Pagani Huayra. Sitting in the back seat, Su Heng shook his buttocks, feeling the softness and comfort of the seat. It's worthy of being a 30 million luxury car, it's so comfortable to sit in. Chufeng-Sviller is a bit far from where you get on the bus, and it takes about half an hour to drive there. On the way, Song Lily hesitated for a moment, and finally said to Su Heng, I'm sorry. What's wrong? Su Heng turned his head in confusion. I was so stupid just now that I was deceived by Zhu Zhigang. Please don't mind. Song Lily said a little nervously. She knew that what boys hated most were gold diggers. Just now when Zhu Jigang asked her to get in the car, she did not refuse but agreed instead. And it happened in front of Su Heng. What would people think? Will you think she is a green tea girl? Will you think she is a gold digger? She absolutely couldn't let Su Heng misunderstand that she actually liked Su Heng very much. The main reason for her trembling just now was that she was deceived by Zhu Jigang, not because she hated Su Heng. So that's what it is. Su Heng waved his hand generously. I don't take it seriously at all. Really? Song Lily was a little surprised. In her opinion, any man would be angry when faced with her choice just now, but Su Heng didn't care at all. Could it be that he is pretending to be magnanimous on the surface, but is actually still worried about her? But looking at his calm expression, it doesn't seem like that. Sure enough, all good men are like this. They don't worry at all that girls will betray them because they have full confidence. Song Lily sighed silently in her heart and finally felt relieved. Driver Xiaolu drove for half an hour and finally took Su Heng and Song Lily to Xu Feng's villa in the Blue Home. Hengshen, we're here. The driver reminded politely and got out of the car to open the door for Su Heng. At this time, in the garden villa, a middle-aged man in his 40s with an elegant appearance walked out with a smile on his face. He is Xu Feng, the owner of the villa. He had recently encountered some difficulties in his business and was in urgent need of working capital. He was just looking for an opportunity to sell the villa, but then he came across Hengshen who wanted to buy it. You are Hengshen. Xu Feng was a little surprised, as if he was shocked by Hengshen's unruly appearance. Chapter 25. Don't underestimate Hengshen? Song Lily blinked, a little confused as to why the big boss called Su Heng like that. Yes, it's me. Su Heng walked up to Xu Feng very confidently and shook hands with him. Although he looks unkempt, he has an extremely strong self-confidence in his bones that no one can underestimate. Su Heng knew very well that the more confident you are, the less likely others will look down on you. If you are timid, others will look down on you instead. Sure enough, seeing his indifferent look, Xu Feng temporarily suppressed his surprise, shook hands with Su Heng and smiled slightly. As expected of Hengshen, you are a true character and a role model for our generation. As he said this, Xu Feng gave Su Heng a thumbs up. Once people have money, they give people a different feeling, and being sloppy becomes their true nature. Okay, Mr. Xu, let's not be polite and get straight to the point. Let's talk business. First, introduce this house to me. Su Heng waved his hand and kept Xu Feng's subsequent politeness in his stomach. He came here to get the rebate, the sooner the better, there was no need to waste time complaining. Besides, we don't have a very deep relationship with each other, we are just members of the same group. Okay, Hengshen is indeed quick to speak. Please come in. Xu Feng smiled and was not angry. He made a gesture of invitation. Su Heng took Song Lily into the villa. God Heng, my villa is a 3-story duplex with a basement. It has 3 kitchens, 8 bathrooms, 2 cloakrooms, a master bedroom, and 4 guest bedrooms. There is also a large balcony on the top floor. You can do anything here at night. It also comes with an astronomical telescope worth 800,000 yuan. There is also a swimming pool next to the villa. If necessary, you can invite friends over to have a party. In addition, as the owner of the villa, Xu Feng introduced the villa in detail. Especially the master bedroom, which covers an area of more than 100 square meters and faces the lake, with a unique view. You can also sit on the balcony to rest and bask in the sun. The more Su Heng looked at the house, the more satisfied he was, and he nodded repeatedly. Compared with this villa, his rental house is not a place for people to live in, it's like a doghouse. Song Lily's eyes were also full of stars. To be honest, as a rural person, when I come to a big city, I have to calculate the monthly rent expenses carefully. The living place is also very ordinary, with a small area, bad lighting, hot summers and cold winters. There's nothing I can do about it, it's her fault for being poor. When hanging out in nightclubs, Song Lily would occasionally visit the homes of those rich second generations and also visited several villas. But all those villas combined are not as good as this one. If she could own a villa like this, she would be willing to die. How about Hengshen? This villa is pretty good, right? Xu Feng asked confidently. To be honest, this villa is the one he is most satisfied with. The air is fresh and the scenery is beautiful. If he hadn't had financial difficulties, he really wouldn't want to sell it. Very good, Mr. Shu, let's not get into those empty words, just give me a price, and I'll buy it if I'm satisfied. Su Heng waved his hand. Henshin, you know the location and price here. It's 41,000 yuan per square meter. The area is so large, the scenery is so beautiful, plus the money I invested in the decoration. Xu Feng talked a lot of things, but found that Su Heng still looked calm, so he could only smile bitterly. To be honest, this house of mine is worth at least 40 million, but considering our friendship, how about 38 million? 38 million, 1,000th of the rebate is 38,000 yuan. Suddenly, Su Heng shook his head repeatedly in his heart. The money was too little, so little that he had no appetite. Seeing Su Heng's frowning expression, Xu Feng thought that Su Heng was dissatisfied, and quickly said, Shen Heng, this price is very fair. If I wasn't short of money recently and this villa is not something that ordinary people can afford, I really wouldn't want to sell it. 38 million is already the lowest price. Okay, I'll give you 40 million, so don't try to be so pretentious with me. Su Heng said proudly. If he wasn't afraid that others would think he was a psychopath, he would have spent 400 million to buy this villa. Xu Feng suddenly felt dizzy, thinking he was hallucinating. Not only did Henshin not lower the price, it actually raised the price. What's wrong? You don't want to? Su Heng looked at Xu Feng in surprise. No, I do. Xu Feng nodded hurriedly. Why wouldn't he want to earn an extra 2 million? Henshin is worthy of being called Henshin, he regards money as dirt. Moreover, his character is also very good. Not only did he not lower the price, but he even raised it. What does this indicate? It shows that people give him face and are not short of money. No wonder Henshin is so rich and inhumane at such a young age. It's mainly because of his strong ability. But I have a condition. Su Heng took the opportunity to say. What conditions? Xu Feng's heart was lifted. The condition is very simple. This house must be in her name. Su Heng pointed at Song Lily beside him. Song Lily was stunned. This villa should be registered under her name. Xu Feng also opened his eyes wide in shock, showing disbelief. This Henshin is really too rich. He gave a house worth 40 million yuan to a woman so easily. Isn't he Henshin afraid of losing both his money and his life? Strong, so strong. This is not good. Song Lily swallowed and refused weakly. It is inappropriate to give a villa worth 40 million to someone who is not related to you at all. However, the scenery of this villa is really nice, and she really likes it. It has been her dream for many years. Therefore, her voice of refusal was very weak. It's okay. I've made up my mind. Su Heng waved his hand, his tone leaving no room for doubt. If their villa is not registered under Song Lily's name, he will not be able to afford it at all, so there is no room for negotiation. After hearing Su Heng's domineering words, Song Lily's heart suddenly melted. To be honest, it is difficult for people who own houses to understand the feelings of people who don't have houses. Especially those who moved from rural areas to cities have struggled for many years just in the hope of having a home in a big city. But now housing prices are too high, so high that even working people cannot afford it, so high that even working people cannot afford to buy a house even if they work hard all their lives. Song Lily never even dreamed of having her own house. The best outcome she could imagine was to marry an honest man and have her name added to the property certificate. However, Su Heng actually bought her a villa all at once, allowing her to fulfill her dream of many years. Ding, Song Lily's favorability +1, current favorability 90. Ding, the money spending target Song Lily has successfully counterattacked and can receive a mysterious reward. Ding, Song Lily's favorability +1, current favorability 91. Ding, Song Lily's favorability +1, current favorability 92. Ding, Song Lily's favorability +1, current favorability 96. Chapter 26 Itchy Heart. In just a few seconds, Song Lily's favorability suddenly soared by 7 points, directly soaring to 96 points. The system also prompted him that Song Lily's counterattack was successful and he could receive the reward. Su Heng breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, the counterattack was successful. I don't know what this mysterious reward is, but it makes me excited. Well, beautiful lady, if you don't mind, can we just sign the contract? Xu Feng said cautiously. He hadn't recovered from the heroic spirit of Henshin just now. Song Lily glanced at Su Heng and found that his eyes were full of encouragement, so she nodded cautiously. Great. To avoid any trouble, how about we sign the contract today? Xu Feng said while the iron was hot. Currently he has some problems with his capital chain and urgently needs some cash. Okay, it's settled. The sooner the better. Su Heng nodded quickly. He was also anxious to sign the contract as soon as possible so that he could get the rebate and money sooner. In order to avoid any further complications and to get the money as soon as possible, Xu Feng completed all the formalities that day and quickly transferred the villa to Song Lily's name. Su Heng also happily transferred the money to Xu Feng and received a rebate of 40,000 yuan. All three of them benefited and were happy. After Song Lily got the key to the villa, her favorability increased a little more. Ding, Song Lily's favorability +1, current favorability 97. However, at this time, Su Heng was no longer sensitive to the increase in Song Lily's favorability. The counterattack has been successful, the mysterious reward has been obtained, and Song Lily, the tool, has completed her mission, and we can say goodbye from now on. Just when Su Heng was about to leave, suddenly, Song Lily pulled him to the bedroom and began to take off Su Heng's clothes. No, Song Lily, what are you going to do? Su Heng's hair suddenly stood up. What's going on? Is Song Lily going to? But from the beginning to the end, Su Heng just treated Song Lily as a robot to get rebates, and he never had any real feelings for her at all. No, he has remained a virgin for more than 20 years and he can't let it be ruined by Song Lily. But Song Lily was obviously experienced. She quickly took off Su Heng's outer clothes while saying, Su Heng, I can't stand it anymore. I don't plan to stand it anymore. I like you, I want to be with you, I want to be one with you. Today is the day we become one. Su Heng dodged left and right, avoiding Song Lily's clutches while trying to persuade her. Song Lily, don't be impulsive. It's still broad daylight, it's indecent. Let's talk about it in a few days, okay? Don't get excited. I can't wait any longer. Song Lily was very excited. There are only two of us here anyway. A man and a woman alone are a perfect match for someone to get killed. After saying that, Song Lily had already sat astride Su Heng, ready to extend her evil claws to Su Heng. Oh, God Heng, I forgot there are a few things I haven't taken. Just at this moment, Xu Feng suddenly arrived and stood at the door of the room. When he saw this intense scene and the clothes scattered on the ground, his expression changed slightly. I'm sorry to bother you too. Xu Feng quickly stepped back and even considerately closed the door of the room. Wait for me. Su Heng took this opportunity to break free from Song Lily's clutches, picked up the clothes on the ground and ran out of the room. I'm sorry, Heng Shen. It was an unintentional mistake. I didn't expect that I would just leave for a while and then. Xu Feng hurriedly explained, fearing that he would offend Heng Shen, the big boss. It's okay, you're just in time. Su Heng hurriedly put on his clothes and let out a long sigh. Fortunately, Xu Feng arrived and interrupted Song Lily, otherwise his virginity would be lost today. Seeing Su Heng like this, Xu Feng couldn't help but have some evil thoughts in his mind. It seems that Heng Shen can't handle the girl. Could it be that the girl is too strong in that aspect, causing Heng Shen to become a little dry? No wonder the two of them started doing it just a few minutes after he left. It turned out that the girl took the initiative. Xu Feng sighed in his heart. Let's go, Mr. Xu. I'll go back first. Su Heng put on his clothes and prepared to go back. If I continue to stay here, I might be caught by Song Lily. This is absolutely unacceptable. Tools are always tools and can be thrown away after use. If you have sex with a tool, it will be difficult to deal with it later, and it will be difficult to flirt with other girls. When it is time to end, you should end it bravely, so that you can remain invincible. Shenhang, let me see you off. Xu Feng said enthusiastically. Okay. Su Heng nodded. By the way, Heng Shen, I still don't know your name. My name is Su Heng. You already know my name, Heng Shen. Here is my business card. Take a look at it. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. I have some connections in Chuancheng. Xu Feng was quite enthusiastic towards Su Heng. After all, this man was the god of Heng. If they could establish a good relationship with him, who knows when it would bring benefits. Su Heng also took Xu Feng's business card. People are so enthusiastic. If you ignore them or act arrogantly, you will offend them. After all, Su-hang has been in society for a few years, so he still understands some interpersonal relationships. After returning to the rental house, Su-hang quickly drew the curtains and turned on the system. After a successful counterattack, there will be a mysterious reward. Now is the time to claim the mysterious reward. What could it be? Luxury car? Villa? Company? Skill? Still Gundam. The page for receiving mysterious rewards is also very tempting. It is a treasure chest emitting colorful light, which makes people unable to help but click on it. As early as when the counterattack was successful, Su-hang could not help but want to click it, but there was someone next to him at that time. Su-hang was afraid that after clicking, the mysterious reward would be a magic pet or something like that, and someone would find out, so Su-hang dragged it until now. With a little nervousness, Su-hang carefully pointed to the private room. With a bang, the box turned into colorful light and disappeared, leaving a needle of purple potion in its place. Ding, congratulations to the host for obtaining the primary gene medicine. Primary genetic medicine, a high-tech medicine that can significantly improve human fitness without any side effects. Yo-ho! Su-hang's eyes suddenly lit up. There is actually such a good thing. To be honest, the system's reward of money, luxury cars, and luxury houses would not make him too excited, because he could afford these things even if he retired early. But Su-hang was very excited about this reward. The body is the capital of revolution. Su-hang took out the injection from the system space and injected the primary genetic medicine into his body without saying a word according to the instructions. Cold, pure cold, followed by a faint warmth, like a stove in winter. Soon, Su-hang felt his eyelids droop, and he fell into a deep sleep on the bed next to him. When Su-hang woke up again, it was already the morning of the next day. He slept for a full 18 hours. I opened my phone and saw that many people had sent me messages. Chapter 27. Take the initiative to move forward. The first one is Yinuo, who sent more than a dozen messages, each of which was nonsense, like a dog licking her. Obviously Su-hang had ignored her, but she still took the initiative to approach him, which was very annoying. Next was Song Lily, who also sent a lot of messages, all about the villa. Then it was Chu Yinuo, who sent a few messages about work. Su-hang just glanced at the messages and did not respond. He still remembers the three main rules of a scumbag: not taking the initiative, not refusing, and not taking responsibility. When it comes to girls, they are all treated as robots that generate rebates, without any feelings at all. After reading the message, Su-hang began to check his physical condition. It feels like he can see things much more clearly than before. Su-hang used to be a little nearsighted, so things in the distance were blurry, but now he doesn't have that feeling anymore and can see things very clearly. His body seemed to be much stronger. When he went to the bathroom and turned on the light, Su-hang found that he had 8 more abdominal muscles and his skin was much better than before. Su-hang originally had some acne marks and blackheads on his face, but now they are no longer visible. Hey, Har? Su-hang waved his arms and legs tentatively, and seemed to feel a lot stronger than before. After thinking about it, Su-hang went downstairs and went to the fitness equipment in a nearby park. You can't feel how much stronger your body is by testing it in a room. It's better to use fitness equipment to feel it. Today is a weekday and there are not many people in the park. There are only 2 people talking by the fitness equipment, a man and a woman. Xiao Jun, let me tell you, the most important thing about exercise is to proceed step by step. Don't be impatient. The human body is fragile. If you over-exercise, it may not seem like a big deal on the surface, but when you get older, your muscles and bones will have problems. Also, muscles don't mean anything. Some people may look full of muscles, but they are actually just flabby. They all rely on protein powder to build up their strength. In fact, they don't have much strength. They can't even pull up a standard horizontal bar. I have been in the fitness industry for many years and I have seen a lot of this. Many people rely on taking protein powder or plastic powder to strengthen their bodies. They look beautiful on the surface, but in fact their bodies are very weak. If they relax for a few days, they will return to their original shape. There were not many people in the park, and it was very quiet. In addition, Su-hang had just taken the medicine, so his hearing was much better, and he could hear the other person's words clearly. Hearing that this man was a fitness coach, Su-hang couldn't help but take a few more glances at him. Thinking back to when he first started working, he had some minor health problems due to long hours of overtime and a irregular lifestyle. He either suffered from insomnia at night or felt sleepy during the day. It just so happened that a gym just opened nearby and was offering a big opening sale, with a 50% discount on annual membership cards. On average, you can work out in the gym for a whole day for just over $5. You know, which gym is not only very well decorated but also offers free showers. These days, taking a shower outside costs at least 10 yuan, and the environment is very average. Seeing such a good deal, Su-heng didn't hesitate and applied for an annual pass on the spot. Unfortunately, after only going there 3 times, Su-heng never went to that gym again. Half a year later, the gym went bankrupt and his $2,000 was directly wasted. Due to his previous experience and the fact that Su-heng had just strengthened his body, he was very interested in this topic. When he heard professionals talking about this, he couldn't help but focus his attention on the fitness coach. As if sensing Su-heng's gaze, fitness coach Du Rushang immediately turned his gaze over. "Brother, are you interested in fitness? I'm actually a coach at the nearby Starbird gym. If you want to go there to exercise, tell me your name and you can get a discount when you sign up for a membership." Du Rushang smiled slightly and said enthusiastically. The basic salary of a fitness coach is relatively low, and the main source of salary comes from commissions from attracting customers, and commissions from selling private lessons, so he is so enthusiastic. No, I just came here to play for a while." Su-heng quickly shook his head to refuse. "Are you kidding? Su-heng has already suffered a loss at the gym once, so how could he suffer a loss a second time? It doesn't matter. Even if you don't want to apply for a card, you can come and listen. It's good for your health." Du Rushang smiled and continued explaining. "I just talked about a lot of theories, but when it comes to fitness, theory is no longer meaningful. It all depends on practice. Come on, Xiao-sun, let me show you." "Sir, you can come and take a look. There are very few professional fitness coaches like me these days." Du Rushang stood in front of the horizontal bar very confidently, jumped lightly, grabbed the bar with 5 fingers, and his body hung in the air. "Look carefully, this is a standard pull-up, which is different from those pull-ups with deformed movements." After saying this, Du Rushang exerted his muscles, moved his body upward, and his chest touched the horizontal bar. "See? This is a standard pull-up. At the very least, the bar has to be above the shoulder line. Many people think they have completed a pull-up by just passing their chin, but in fact, it is not standard. Come on, I'll do a few more, and you can watch the movements for yourself." Du Rushang panted hard and did 30 pull-ups at once before letting go of the bar. "See, there aren't many people who can do 30 pull-ups now, and many people can't even do 5. Wow, coach, you are so awesome." The girl exclaimed in admiration at the right time. No. The coach smiled faintly, pretending to be impressive without being noticed, hiding his achievements and fame. Today, he saw this beautiful girl in the gym and immediately fell in love with her. He wanted her to buy private lessons and develop a deeper relationship with him. However, there were more wolves than meat in the gym, so he was very smart and took the girl to a nearby park for private communication. Sure enough, he casually shared some professional knowledge and showed off his physical fitness, and he won the girl's admiring gaze. This progress is very good. It was a great success at the start. As long as he keeps going, he will be able to have in-depth communication with the girl soon. By the way, brother, come and try it too. Du Rushang suddenly entertained Su-heng. That's not necessary. Su-heng waved his hand. Hey, it's free to try, and if you don't try, how will you know if you can do it? And if your movements are not standard, I can give you some guidance for free. You know, I charge for guiding others. You're a bastard if you don't take advantage of an opportunity. What's wrong with you trying? Du Rushang spoke in a witty and humorous manner. Su-heng had always wanted to give it a try, so after hearing what he said, he simply stood under the horizontal bar. Very good. Life is all about having the courage to try and give it your all. It doesn't matter if you don't do well.